You're definitely in the right place. Blah, blah, blah. You know the story. We're about to be coming to you live 5 days a week, and I'm going to have to get better at this, all this new stuff that we have on here because it's pretty bad right now. But thank you for joining me, folks. Good news is we only had about 8, 9 people at that point, so that's good. I'm a little loud for myself, though, there. All right. Let's see. What does that call for? The host is jacked up, messing everything all up. But I would say that everybody's screwing everything. I would say everybody's kind of screwing everything up in Big 12 media anyway, as we kind of take a look at a couple of the things. You know, the preseason, I don't put a whole lot of stock into the preseason all Big 12 team, anything like that. But it's kind of weird to me that when you take a look at what you have here as far as the all Big 12 team, let me take this overlay off of there. It's kind of odd to me that you have one Oklahoma Sooner on the team in Ethan Downs, which good for Ethan. I'm glad he got it. But yet they've got him ranked number 3. Then when you start looking at Oklahoma State, they have 3 players on the team, and they've got them ranked all the way down to number 7. It's got to make more sense, right? It's got to make more sense. And hey, Sooner Cowboy, we're not going to do this today. We're not doing it. We're going to talk about some other stuff maybe towards the end. This is a call-in show. If you want to call in and talk about it, you can. The link should be in the description. If it's not, let me go ahead and put that. Oops. Let me put that in here. If you want to call in and throw a fit over JJA when you knew we weren't going to get him, you even said it on the show, on Mark's show the other day, the Sooner Live. Come on, man. Yeah. Stutzman, returning tackle leader. That's a great call. You also newcomer of the year. I don't necessarily have a problem with it being the K-State running back, but you have a freshman All-American that's coming into the conference this season in Deshaun McCullough. You know, he would have worked there. He's not even on the team. You know, it's just wacky to me, right? But even if you look at it, you know, Texas Tech's they're not represented very well on there either. You've got 2 players from Tech. Texas really only has 1, 2, 3. They have 3. So they got as many as Okie Light. Yeah, I said Okie Light. All right. Yeah, guys, I don't know what to say about this. To me, and look, I have zero problem with the players of the year coming into the season. I think we've all been picking Jaylan Daniels to be he's the best quarterback coming into the season with what he did last year. If that guy stays healthy, Kansas is going to be a problem in this league. I think that they're still going to be a little behind on defense, but as far as the rest of it, I would see. Yeah, listen, come on, guys, and I mean, really, if we're going to talk about this, then we can, because here's the thing. You've got guys like Billy Bowman. And even you had Dylan was the newcomer of the year. You know, not to say he needed to go in front of Jaylan Daniels, because I don't think that he did necessarily. But then you had 2 running backs, you know, and they've got a place for 2 running backs. They go with Devin Neal, Richard Reese. Now, don't get me wrong, no problem with Richard Reese. He had a great season his freshman year at Baylor. Unbelievable season. Devin Neal was very good too, right? But you've got Javonte coming back, and then you've got Sawchuk that just went off in the bowl game against Florida State and nothing. You know, Brennan Presley. I mean, really? I mean, we'll let Cody talk about that. But Xavier Worthy, and then Jaron Bradley. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, not even an offensive lineman. Bill Bedenbaugh is the best offensive line coach in the freaking conference. Not one of these guys gets on there, you know. So I'm wondering how they get to the point where they get to, how do they get to that point where they make them number 3? Because in the poll, they're going to come in at number 3 without anybody. So it's kind of wacky. Oh, there's old Logan. We're going to let old Logan from the Lone Star College Football come in for just a second as well. Logan, what's up, buddy?
What's up, man? What's up, man?
How are we?
Oh, man, it's a beautiful day here in East Texas. Beautiful.
Oh, and here's your partner too. There he is. Hey, what's up, boys? How
What's
we doing?
up, man?
Look, we're doing, man, just hanging around. I was kind of we're just kind of taking a look at what's going on with this. You've got the preseason poll, and then we're looking right now at the offensive player of the year. Obviously, the full team. I just kind of it's just weird to me that you end up with one Oklahoma player on there. You have 3 guys from Oklahoma State. Baylor really isn't very well. Yeah, they've got 1 guy also. Texas only has 3. They've got as many as Oklahoma State. What's up with that?
Well, just 3 on the offensive side of the ball.
Is it 3 on the offensive side? Did I miss one?
Yeah, 3 on the offense, 2 on the defense.
Oh yeah. Oh, so you got 5. Okay, well then.
Yeah, we led all the Big 12.
So see, that makes sense. At least if they're going to say they're number 1, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I get that part of it, but like, if you got in some people are picking, they've got OU at number 3 coming in, but they got 1 guy on the team. Not even like the newcomer thing. I mean, you had a freshman All-American and Deshaun McCullough coming in there, and you don't even get 1. You don't even get him on there. I mean, I'm not necessarily that I have a problem with the incoming running back as far as the newcomer stuff, because
I have a problem with it.
You do?
Just because I think Giddens was the backup for Kansas State last year, and I think he actually had a pretty productive season. So I don't see why he wouldn't be the starter for a newcomer. Is newcomer limited to just? Well, I don't even know if it shows the newcomer. He's going to be he's a senior, right?
Is he?
So it's not limited to just incoming freshmen. It's transfer portal. Anybody new.
Well, no, because newcomer of the year for the rest of the season last year was Dylan Gabriel.
He got right. So yeah, I would be more inclined to see a name like an A.D. Mitchell. He could be a guy that comes in, has a big year.
I agree.
But I don't know. Maybe if he's a senior, maybe they're planning on starting him over Giddens anyways, and that's probably what it'll be.
Yeah, and I mean, as I was saying a second ago, I think Richard Reese is obviously belonging on this list. That guy came in as a freshman, lit it up. I mean, he was the best part of that offense last year.
Oh, for sure, 1,000%.
Yeah,
that was the case whenever Dave Aranda actually gave him the ball and put him in the game.
Yeah.
And I think that was a problem because he wanted to give respect to Squirrel and to Quaylen, some guys that have been there for a couple of years, which he said himself this offseason that he relied a lot on the guys that he thinks should have had a shot, but they didn't in the years past just because of depth chart, whatever, which obviously turned out to hurt us a lot last year.
Right.
But I think hopefully with him saying that, he will be able to actually run the offense in the best way possible, defense as well, and not just look at how long somebody's there and actually based on skill instead.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. And I mean, that makes sense. That does make sense. Let's see. So no problems with Jaylan Daniels. Obviously, as I was saying, I think everybody's been kind of saying coming in that this is the best quarterback in the league. If he stays healthy, he's electric. He can do a lot of things, right?
The only thing that could hold him back, because me and Logan, we did a tier list for quarterbacks a few months ago, and we put Jaylan Daniels at the top of it. Yeah. The only thing that I think gives a quarterback like Dylan Gabriel or Quinn Ewers, or even like a Tyler Shuck, is that I don't know the receivers at Kansas. Right. Quinn Ewers is going to have a ton of targets to throw to.
Yes, he does.
But Jaylan Daniels is electric.
He can beat you a lot of ways, right? It's kind of like how
he got hurt last year when they were like 5-0, and you saw the whole Kansas team. They reverted right back to old Kansas.
Yeah, they
Jaylan
ended up
Daniels
losing
seems
6
to
out
be
of their
the
last 7, right? You know,
right.
they
So he's
lost
the
3 in a row,
playmaker.
then won a game, and then lost 3 in a row again. You know, of course, he
Yeah.
missed 2 of those. He really missed 2 of those games, or really 3, because actually he missed the better part of that 4th one because it was against Okie Light.
Yeah.
And
I
again,
mean,
Okie
he
Light
played.
Cody should be in here pretty soon, but
Then again, when he came back, he wasn't like he was in the first half because
he
I
wasn't.
mean, against Arkansas, he had a great game, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 544 yards. But against Texas, his first game back after injury, I mean, we beat them like 55-14 or something. Like they seemed like the old Kansas, and I really wasn't expecting that. But
Hank says, "I agree. This list was a bar conversation after too many Bud Lights."
well, I got a question, Jason. You know, who for Oklahoma, who would you have thought would have been on this list that isn't?
Okay, so I mean, I don't. It's like I said,
Because
with
I
the
have 2
quarterback,
for Texas.
the first string quarterback, I'm good with it. You know what I mean? But honestly, you know, if you're talking about good running backs, Javante Barnes had a great year. You know, I mean, Devin Neal did as well. So I'm not terribly
Devin
upset
Neal
about that, right? But then okay, so what about? But if you got, you know, you start talking about tight ends. You know, we've got Austin Stogner coming back to OU. He was definitely one of the best tight ends in the league whenever he was there. So, you know, but that's fine.
But
I also don't have a
though?
problem with Jatavian Sanders because he might be the best one in the country, right?
Nah, he's not Brock Bowers.
He's not the best.
He's not Brock Bowers, but he's solid for sure.
Yeah, he's up there.
But then okay, so offensive line is for sure. Bill Bedenbaugh's been the best O-line coach in the country, and he puts out first rounder after first rounder after first rounder, and none of these guys get in there. You know, but at the very least, just like I said, I think Deshaun McCullough, he's a freshman All-American. How does he not come in as a freshman All-American and be on this team somewhere? You know, as newcomer of the year or something like that. You also have guys like, Rondell Bothroyd, you know, on the defensive side of the ball. That guy he was amazing at it in the ACC. You know, I know he hadn't been in the Big 12 yet, but guys, I mean, you know, the dude was a game wrecker. There's a lot of guys like that. And Danny Stutzman was the leading tackler in the conference, you know, leading tackler on the team as a linebacker. So, you know, these are guys that you could have put. And I'm not saying you necessarily have to do all of those guys. I'm saying some of these guys could have been somewhere on there. And, you know, in the end, the thing is why are you picking them to be third if you don't like any of their players? Right? That was my question.
Because, well, and so me and Logan actually kind of talked about this some. It's because in theory, okay, kind of like with Texas, there's always you're going to be overhyped because the way y'all recruit, there's no reason for you to not be a contender. If y'all aren't a contender this year, then there's something like seriously going wrong. Just like Texas, every year that we're not a contender, it's because something is going way wrong.
Right. So the Cowboys, you said they're basing it on how OU played last year. You got to earn it. Well, then how did Texas earn 5 with, you know, losing 5 games and only winning 8? They were, you know, come on now.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the players that we got on it. I mean,
listen, and I'm not even saying anything really bad about
right, but when you're like, because you're right. No, you're right. We lost 8 games, or we lost 5 games. That's not a good season at all. But on the defensive side, now Byron Murphy, I don't agree with. I would have liked to seen Barrett Sorrell on the edge position over Byron Murphy. But Jaylan Ford should have been the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year last year, in my opinion.
Well, that's why they have him as the guy right now, right?
Xavier Worthy has 21 touchdowns in 21 games. Can't argue with that. Jatavion Sanders is the best tight end Texas has had since Jermichael Finley. Yeah. And Kelvin Banks, honestly, probably could have been a first-round draft pick after his freshman year.
I probably would have taken Presley off that list, though. You know, I don't think Brandon Presley was that great. I know.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about last night, too.
I would have liked to seen like a Keytron Jackson from Baylor coming from – where's he come from, Arkansas?
Yeah, Arkansas. He was going to be their number 1 target this year.
He could be a newcomer player as well. He could be in that as well.
Right.
But
yeah, and I mean, but looking at it, I mean, there's some guy, and again, you know, you got to take somebody off if you're putting somebody on there. So I'm not going too crazy with this. It's just weird to me how you're going to go there to 3, but then they've got less selections than any of the rest of them, right? Javonte Barnes, I feel like he you know, I don't know. I feel like he looks just like he could have been just as good. You know what I mean on that list as say Devin Neal maybe. You know, and I know they're going to have to run the football there at Kansas, but you know, Jaylan Daniels a lot of times was the leading rusher when he was in the game, right?
Oh yeah.
You know,
he had almost 500 yards
Reggie Pearson
rushing.
would have been another good selection. That's right, Kim. I'm with you on that. The guy played he played at Tech last year, and he was easily one of the best safeties in the league. Easily, right?
Well, hey Jason, we this is the end of our break. We just got to hop on here for a little bit and talk with you.
Boys, I
appreciate you having us on though. And
all right, well, you got to tell me before you leave. Is Texas back? What's up with that?
Nah, well, Texas isn't back. Texas ain't back until we show we're back. You know, I think Texas has a good opportunity to.
A Longhorn fan that's got something real to say.
I think we have a legit chance at an 11-1 season.
Losing to Baylor.
Not losing to Baylor. No shot we lose to Baylor. If we have a loss, and the reason I can't say 12-0 because 12-0 in the Big 12 just seems like the most impossible thing in the world. But because they're always going to lose one to somebody, right? It could be, in my opinion, Bama, Oklahoma, and Kansas are actually my three biggest teams that I'd have concerns with. Texas Tech probably coming in at a pretty far down fourth just because of Joe McGuire. Kansas State would be on there, but we've beat them 6 years in a row. Even when they're up, it doesn't seem to be a big deal for Texas. So, 11-1 is possible. I think 10-2 is most likely, which puts us in the Big 12 game. Oklahoma should make it because y'all schedule is cupcake season.
No doubt.
And hopefully, you know, if Baylor can't make it, then I'm rooting for a Texas-Oklahoma Big 12. Let's go out on top. Show this Group of 5 conference what they're missing next year. But with that being said, man, we gotta hop out of here. I'm a minute over a break.
You guys have a good night. Have a good day.
All right,
talk to you later. Look at the Postal Service boys going handling it. Our post office guys. That was, of course, the Lone Star college football guys. You can always find them on YouTube at Lone Star _CFB at Lone Star _CFB. Make sure you jump on there, check those guys out, and subscribe. They're getting close to their 1,000 subscribers. They're putting out some pretty cool content, so make sure you get on there and check that out. All right. Next up, let's see. First Longhorn fan you haven't heard say going 12-0. Yeah, well, we all know how crazy those dudes can be. Is it that surprising? You know, I don't know why. After it's been 2009, right? 2009 since they did that, since they won the conference. That's freaking 14 years, boys. 14 years. You know, I'm with him. I understand what he's saying. You at some point you got to go do it first, and then you can start talking. You know, they've got that, you know, Red River game, but the last time that they won that thing 2 years in a row was what? I think it may have been around 2007, 2008, maybe 2009. I don't remember exactly, but it's been a while. So it's gonna. I see. Let's see. You got Texas going 9-3. Yeah. Listen, Sark's only won 9 games once. And that was the other question I was going to ask him is if we go back to this, let me pull up this. Let's take a look at this real quick. So looking at, we've got the media poll here. All right. So you got Texas going 9-3 along with it. I like it. I think that's it. I think they should definitely get to 9-3. And I also would preface all this to say that they actually do have to play Texas Tech, which is, you know, as you can see here, they're ranked number 4 coming in. So that puts them as a contender. They also have to play Kansas State during the season. Oklahoma plays neither of these teams during the season. I think that Tech, they probably, if you're an OU fan, you probably wish you could have them again. Baylor's another team they don't play. Texas plays all of them. They get them all except for Baylor on the road. So we're going to find out a lot about them, about what they are, if they're going to get it done or not, right? And if they have a good if they do have a good defense, they should be good on offense. You know, if you're believing what they had to say as far as with Quinn Ewers and that kind of stuff, you know, that he's looking that, and he did look good in the spring. But, you know, if you're believing what Sark has to say, you know, in fact, I actually have a video that we can pop up there about that in here in just a second. But let's take a look at this preseason poll overall. Obviously, starting off with Texas, they had 41 first-place votes to Kansas State getting 14 of them. Oklahoma and Tech both had 4 first-place votes. TCU got 3. I wonder who was that one first place for Okie Light on the voting. Who the hell got a vote for that? Yeah. Cody needs to get in here. Cody needs to get in here. Now, guys, let me make sure that I give you guys that. We have time for some call-ins. We're going to have Jim Williams on here in just a few moments. We'll have Jim Williams on here. We're going to talk just for a few minutes about some realignment stuff. There's some weird stuff that's been going on with SDSU, and they were getting out of the Mountain West Conference. Then they said, no, we decided not to, but the Mountain West is like, we already kicked you out. We already took you out, whatever. So we're going to talk to Jim about that here in a few minutes. Gundy doesn't get a freaking vote in that. It was a media poll, so that can't be right. But maybe it was. Do you think it might have been that? What's that dude's name that's always on 365? The sideline reporter dude. Maybe that's it. If that's the case, so I mean, come on, take away the guy's vote. That's ridiculous. You know better than that. There's no way that they win the conference. Much less be get the number one. Cody might tell you that they got a chance to win the conference. And in fact, I think he probably will when he gets in here. That's fine. In the end, I'd be pretty freaking surprised. I'd be pretty surprised. With everything they lost, they've got Alan Bowman going to be playing quarterback. As much as I wasn't a big Spencer Sanders guy, he's way better than Bowman. Come on. Look, Texas Tech was not unhappy to get rid of this guy, right? But crazy stuff. 5-7. Hank's been saying it. 5-7. We'll make sure that when Cody gets in here, we will pop that back up on the screen. I'm gonna go ahead and start that. Yeah. Kansas coach. Okay. Lance Leipold. Yeah, let's talk about him real quick. Lance Leipold, this guy has won actually, I believe it's 7 national championships at the Division III level. He got the job at Buffalo first, had them in the top 25. Hell, I didn't even know they had a freaking school called Buffalo, right? He had them in the top 25, won a bowl game before he took this Kansas job. Of course, they only win that 2 games in the first season. They jumped to 6 games last year, going 6-6, but winning the first 5 before Jaylan Daniels got hurt. They're going to struggle a little bit on defense. Lance Leipold is the real deal. And the one thing I would tell you is aside from like the SEC, there's not a group of coaches that are better than what's in the Big 12 right now. All the way up and down the freaking aside from maybe Holgerson and I would say the West Virginia coach. But I think Neal Brown's actually not as bad as what's going on there. I just don't think that's a great fit for him. I mean, but he just had his best recruiting class and the school's best recruiting class in a long time. Kansas State was really close to hiring him instead of Chris Klieman. So kind of surprising, really, that he hasn't gotten anything done. But I think he's dead man walking, which is just kind of weird. But Lance Leipold is the real deal, man. Klieman, I think he's won 6 or 7 national championships at the Division I AA level. He was the North Dakota State, I believe. So he's won a lot. And again, but that's kind of the same deal with Lance Leipold. And my question is whether they're going to be able to keep him around or not. I know they're trying to do some stadium upgrades. They need to get that done because if they don't, there's no way you're ever going to be able to. This is the first time. Last year was their best start since 2009. When they started off the same, I think it was 6-0 that year. They hadn't been good since. And all of a sudden, they go from 2 wins to 6. I mean, and they have the player of the year coming into the conference season. I would tell you that if they're any good on defense whatsoever, they're a threat to everybody. including Texas, including Oklahoma, including K-State. Now, I do think that K-State, I don't have a problem with them necessarily being thank you, Kim. Please do hit the like button, folks. If you like the show, want to see us more, get us out there on that. That's the easiest way to help us is that. Thank you very much for that. You people are lame. Hey, Sean, thanks, man. You always bring a little troll into there. Spice it up a little bit. What do you got to say? Okay, the UT fans had to get jobs at the post office to get their fill because Texas damn sure doesn't deliver. Oh, well, this is up for comment of the week. Love it. I'm gonna have to make sure that those boys get that one. That's hilarious. Yeah, where's the hey? We don't even know who you like. So okay, let's troll Sean a little bit. Call him Okie Light Sean because it's got to be what I don't know. He says Arkansas. He says this. He says that. Nobody really knows. So let's just poke at him a little bit. He wants it. Bring it. Welcome back to the show, man. It's been a while since we've seen you. All right. Today is about Okie Light, and I'm waiting on Cody. There you go. Yeah, he's late. He's late. Way late. I'm texting. There he is, right there. Hell yeah. Okay, he's about to be in here. All right. As soon as I see him back on the screen, we're going to pull him up. You guys can give him all kinds of hell. Do that. All right. Yeah, so let's go back through this list, though. All right. Texas 1, Kansas 2, Oklahoma and Texas at 3 and 4. TCU, who won the regular season championship a year ago, made it to the national championship game. They've got them at number 5, followed by Baylor, Oklahoma State, UCF, Kansas, Iowa State, BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, West Virginia bringing up the rear. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Oklahoma
buddy.
State. Yeah, buddy, me.
Hey, buddy.
What's going on, man? We're going to have to give you a hard time. You're late.
I'm not late. Okay, you know what? Actually, hold on. It's 11:06. I'm technically late. My bad.
You're late anyway. You're the one that said 10 o'clock. You're the one that said 10 o'clock, bro. Killing me. Just killing me.
I said 11.
No, you didn't.
And you said 10:30.
Well, Hank's been waiting on you, so it's on now, buddy.
Hey, Hank. What up, buddy?
Typical slowpoke, as he says. Hell yeah.
Okay, we got comments. I need some comments. I like it. Here we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
So Hank's got you going 5 and 7, dude.
What?
5 and 7.
Hank, Daggett Nabbit, we've had this conversation before. Morning drinking is not for you, bud. Morning drinking is just not your cup of taters, my guy. Come on, man.
Listen, man, I got to be with him here on this. I got to figure out where. Now, it's weird to me that Oklahoma State ends up with 3 guys on the list for preseason.
Yeah.
OU only gets 1 guy, but they've got you at 7, OU at 3. I just don't know where the media was at on all this. I just don't know where the media was at on
I think the best question that should come out of this is the Big 12 Media's preseason poll, correct?
Yes, it is.
This word media, that's the part of this that I don't know that I understand, man.
Well, I want to know who the hell has Oklahoma State pick number 1. That one you was
it? To my knowledge, that was the other Cody Nagel. I could be wrong though.
Well, why would he do that, bro?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly I don't know because I think we're going to have a very good season. Our schedule lines us up and enables us to be able to do that.
Everybody in here, it better not have been you.
But no, it wasn't me, and I wouldn't have. If I had a vote, my vote would have been K-State all day, every day. You know what I mean? I think it's laughable the disrespect that they're getting just because they're Kansas State. Like, I get it. The helmet sticker isn't the same, but can we just take a second? All right, I give you a hard time. You give me a hard time.
Should have been number 1.
You call me little brother. I'm gonna take a stab at this little brother thing because Texas is our little brother. We have beat them like a redheaded stepchild for the last, 12 years, pretty consistently on a regular basis. Pretty sure we've won like 9 of the last 12. So they're our little brother. We can say that. I'm fine with it. For them to have 41 flipping fracking votes, to me, that is nothing more than a propping up of this SEC before they bounce. I don't get it. I don't see it. I think they're going to be good. I really do. I see Texas winning 10 games. But this preseason love that everybody has every single year is ridiculous.
How are you going to say you see him winning 10 games when Sark's never won 10 games and he's won 9 once? But you're also saying that they shouldn't be number one. How the hell is it? It can't be both.
What do you mean they can't win 10 games and not be number one? Yeah, dude, it's preseason. No. They have done nothing to deserve 41 first place votes. They have done nothing
to deserve you saying that they're going to win 10 games.
Man, if you look at this spring, right, compared to previous springs, I think you do see a big difference as far as team speed. And schematically, what they're trying to do defensively looks much more simplistic than previous years. The last year's spring game, they looked very out of sorts. So I don't think it's a big surprise that coming into the season that they potentially had some issues. Where did you go? Don't know where you went. But anywho, Texas being number one here is beyond laughable. And I do think that this is a little bit of a propping up of sorts to try to build Texas into something that they're not yet. I do see some differences between this spring and last spring. I do see them being better. But this is ridiculous, man. This is preseason.
I don't see how you can say it's ridiculous. I don't see how you can say it's ridiculous. You can sit here and say it's ridiculous and then in the same breath say they're going to win 10 games when he's never done it. I don't get that.
Well, okay, what is there not to get? I just said there's a big disparity between last offseason and this offseason for Texas. Quinn Ewers was an unproven commodity coming into last year. Everyone thought that maybe it was going to be Hudson Card's job to lose. When Quinn Ewers got in the game, he proved why he was the guy. When Quinn Ewers was in the game, they were
he wasn't that great a lot of times.
And another reason is I believe in Malik Murphy. I think Malik Murphy is good enough to start.
He's not the starter.
I understand that. He's good enough to start at 70% of the Big 12 schools right here, right now. He'd start at Oklahoma State, and he'd probably start at OU.
Yeah. I mean, Malik, I think that he's a starter. Yeah, he's a starter. He should be. I'm surprised he stayed at Texas, to be quite honest with you.
Me too. Well, the answer to that, man.
A ton of money in his pocket. I mean, that's clear.
And Joel Klatt even talked about it the other day about how NIL can be actually a good thing, right? Because instead of kids leaving early because they feel compelled to, and we've both been through it, right? Lincoln Riley suggested that some people go ahead and enter the draft early. Mike Gundy has done the same thing to guys, saying that you should probably go to the draft, yada, yada, yada. But now you don't have to worry about that as much anymore because a lot of these guys are going to make more money by staying in school than they will be going to the draft. If you were previously a 5th round guy, 4th round guy, 6th round guy, you were a junior, you felt like you had to take the leap because you couldn't afford a bunch of injuries. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
But can we get to why Kansas State is going through this level of disrespect?
So they're disrespected by being number 2?
14 votes. It's not about the number. To me, it's about the number of votes, buddy. That's ridiculous. Okay. That disparity, Texas and Kansas State right now. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think
this is an entire, and this is what I would tell you about that part of it is number one. I don't think it's just the Big 12 media. This is a national thing, because I mean you got every freaking swinging in the country has Texas slated to do it. They haven't won anything since 2009. I guess they can just keep saying they're back until they actually are.
I guess, but, man. I thought we learned our lesson by now, but evidently not.
No, dude, because if you look at, Josh Patel's do it, and you got the entirety of ESPN does it. You even got a lot of those SEC creators that you watch them, I watch them. They're doing it too.
Well, that makes sense to me.
Pissing their ass.
That makes sense to me, right? Because it's the SEC, propping up the SEC. I get that. And with all due respect, if we're going off of what they had last season, what they're bringing into this season, what they look like during the spring, other than talent-wise.
There's no doubt whatsoever that they have the most talented roster. I'm not even saying that.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not even saying anything about.
But that's every year.
Okay, right, exactly. But the bottom line is Sark has a long career as a head coach, a long career. And I mean, this is year 3. He won 5 games, losing 6 straight halftime leads in his first season. He loses 5 last year, goes 8-5. They were better, but there's no way that these guys ought to be. You're right about that. I'm telling you, there's no way that these guys should be doing that. When you've never won 10 games, then you need to win 10 games first. You cannot sit there and just that many people think that this is that they're the truth like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that and to Lone Star, to Christian's credit, he just said, "Hey, we're not back until we prove we're back." I'm surprised. Most Texas fans are not going to say that. Christian, that was real. But yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right, Dalton. There was about 1,000 yards difference between him and Dillon Gabriel. I get it. Dillon Gabriel had a top 15 offense. Texas didn't. And again, I think that he gets a lot of disrespect there too. Dillon Gabriel gets a lot of disrespect. He gets a lot of those losses to Power 5 teams hung on him too. There are close games and whatever, all that other crap as well. But a lot of that is, of course, coming from those knuckleheads over at UCF, which we can talk a little bit about those clowns anytime you want.
Quinn Ewers also had Bijan Robinson and Roshan Johnson.
This is exactly why there's no excuse for them not winning 10 last year. And
I'm just saying, when somebody's saying that Ewers had 1,000 less yards, if OU had those 2 running backs, Dillon Gabriel would have.
You had a good running. They had 2 good running backs, Javonte Barnes and Eric Gray. Eric Gray was the freak. Hey, he had 1,400.
Good, yes, but you have to admit that Bijan Robinson was.
I didn't say he was Bijan Robinson, and I didn't say he was Roshan either. But they also used him better. Period. Okay. They used him better.
Fair enough.
So that's my deal on it.
Well, but going back to Texas, I think the Texas fan that brought up they haven't earned anything yet. I agree with. That's why I have a problem with this many votes. But you look back at last season, they lost so many second half leads. Well, if you played the game of football long enough, you'll know that that's usually a locker room issue. That's usually there's some cancer creeping in. And you can admit that a lot of Texas players, right? You remember when that Texas defensive line coach got chastised on the internet for ripping into his guys on the bus? But that stuff needed to happen. That stuff does need, because that coach was right. Those Texas players, they think they've arrived the minute they get to Texas, whether they've won a single game or not.
For everything that we, I don't think that they should have fired Tom Herman necessarily, but it seems more and more like maybe there was a problem going on with that culture that was there, because you hear that a lot. That but I do know that he had them in the conference championship game. Is the first time since in a long time they had been there. They lost it. Of course, he beat Oklahoma. And I mean, both those games were freaking unbelievable that year.
Yeah, I agree, Bishop Frank. K-State should be the unquestioned number 1 in here. It's ridiculous.
I think it should be number 1. Yeah, and look, I don't have a problem with that. And the reason, but I will say that I don't have a problem with them. I mean, if you're going to sit here and tell me that you think they're going to win 10 games, Cody, I'm going to tell you that they should be in the number 1 seed too.
No, hell no. They haven't earned it.
And here's the reason, is because they do have the best roster, period.
Yeah, dude. But
here's the thing. Here's the one thing about Kansas State that you have to, hey, look, their best running back is no longer there.
I mean, yeah, true. Deuce Vaughn is a difference maker.
Huh?
Deuce Vaughn was definitely a rare bird.
Hey, no doubt. I don't care.
But has Kansas State ever had a problem producing running backs in their system that are productive?
No. Kleiman, and again, Chris Kleiman is the real deal.
Right, 100%.
The real deal.
Yeah, I think people are sleeping on K-State, man. I mean, dude, you got their quarterback out here power cleaning 650 and squatting 600 and bench pressing 450. Like, the dude is an absolute tank. Now, if Colin Klein wants to run the most simplistic offense in America he'll probably be able to do that, right?
Who?
And it'll be just like when Colin Klein was there. You knew what was coming every play. Every play was going to be one of 2, 3 people running straight into your face mask for 3, 4 yards and daring you to stop it. I think K-State will be a lot of that this year. And I don't, man, unless Will Howard gets hurt. If Will Howard gets hurt, Jake Rubley, from what I've seen, is pretty terrible. So they might be in a very precarious situation if he goes down. But if he remains healthy through the entirety of the season, I don't understand how anybody in their right mind that judges the game of football can say Kansas State is going to take a massive backslide when Texas, who does have the most powerful quote-unquote roster, I think they're going to win 10 games. I would put Texas number 2. I have all year. But number 1 by that many votes is what bothers me, buddy. That many votes makes no sense by quote-unquote Big 12 media guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why are Big 12 media guys propping up a school that's leaving to the SEC? To me, there has to be a reason.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. That's not what it is. That is not their job to prop up anybody. It's not their job to prop up anybody. To be
okay, then you tell me why is Texas
if you're a media person, your job is to pick the teams the correct way and to pick the right players in that. If you're doing these votes, it's not about the freaking conference. They don't work for that conference, Cody. Do not go there with that. They do not work for that conference.
What do you mean don't go there?
Because they don't work for the freaking Big 12 conference.
Okay, so you tell me, in all of your wisdom, why is Texas 1?
Because
what's the justification?
I'm telling you why they voted on number 1. The same reason that the rest of the country has them winning it is because of the same thing. They have the best roster, and they love them some Sark. They love them. Whatever. I mean, because Saban has freaking. He gave him his freaking. He's good.
I think you're pulling a little SEC homer there, but whatever.
I'm not saying that it's right. I'm telling you that it's what the freaking rest of the country is doing, and it's easy for them to fall in line there.
Right. I understand why ESPN punditry would prop up Texas. I understand why.
And I'm going to tell you this: it's not for the media members of any conference to love on that media or to love on that conference. That's not their job. Their job is to be down the middle. This is if you're an actual member of the media, and I'm going to tell you, I mean, we all have our allegiances to the teams that we love, whatever, and you do and I do, and I'm not saying that, but it's not your job or mine to love on teams that are going to stay in the Big 12 versus hate on OU and Texas. That's not the job for either one of us when it comes to voting who's the best team in the conference. That is not what this is about. Do they need to go and win the conference? Sure. Absolutely. Before you start just giving them everything, yeah. But what I would tell you is that there's a reason why they voted them in there, that it isn't about freaking propping up the SEC with your freaking conspiracy theories.
Okay. Hey, at least your hair looks nice.
My hair?
Yeah. Looks good.
Yeah, whatever, bro. All right. Folks, thanks for coming into the show. We appreciate you coming on. What do you think of the rest of this, Cody, real quick? Let's run down. Where are they right? Where are they wrong? Let's do this quick and move along.
All right.
We will. I know we're going to talk more about Oklahoma State. So, but other than Oklahoma State, what do you think about the rest of the list?
I don't have a problem with the rest of the list for the most part. I do think that West Virginia is a little low there. I'm not a big believer. I don't think their coach, Neal Brown, should still have a job. But I watched their spring game too, and Garrett Green looks pretty daggone good. Garrett Green looks very serviceable. Nico Markiel, the transition from right-handed to left-handed, I know some people like to pretend it's not a thing. It is a thing. You're asking your offensive linemen to do basically the same thing with their other hand. There is a difference, and I think it'll take them a little bit longer to work through that. But Cincinnati, man, I just don't feel like they have the two deep to be ultra competitive. Same thing with Houston. I would probably put Houston as last place, and West Virginia maybe in the 12 style of range. But other than that, I think BYU is criminally low, and UCF is ridiculously high. Other than that, the rest of the list.
I was hoping you would come to them. Freaking UCF. What are you guys kidding me? You went 9-5. John Rice Plumlee can't throw the freaking ball from here across the room. and you think you went 9-5 a year ago, and you think that you're going to come into the power
dude, UCF fans firmly believe that John Rice Plumlee. They think John Rice Plumlee is about to tear up the conference. They think that there's not a defense in the Big 12 that can stop that.
Because he's Adrian Martinez. Come on, Adrian didn't last the season.
See, Kim says KU should be higher. They have the best player in the conference, but
yeah, so they should be. Yeah, how's he the player of the year, and they're gonna finish 9th? None of this makes sense.
I think defensively, I do think Kansas is better than UCF, like without it. And right now, I'll say I think KU is better than Baylor.
Me too.
But their defense is going to take some work, and they're going to get exploited by some of the better offense.
Also, listen, I think TCU has a hangover. I'm not one of these folks that's buying stock on TCU. Not doing it.
I am.
They got 67 hung on them in the national championship game. All those super seniors are gone. And they have a new quarterback, and they have a new offensive coordinator as well that doesn't run the same system as Little Riley.
I think if anybody had a better transfer market than us, it might be TCU, man. They filled a lot of holes.
Might be Oklahoma for defense.
I mean, I don't have a massive argument there either. I think OU's done a lot of good things. I think OU's going to be good. But here's the thing: is I do believe the parity in the Big 12 this season is going to be even more drastic than last season. Right? Last season, you knew even KU, if you didn't pack a lunch, you're in for a long day. Who is this Mars Jams guy?
He's my boy. He's a OU guy. What about it? What are you saying?
Oh, no, I'm just hoping he calls in so he could spew his stupidity live. That would be great.
He would. Listen, some of the folks, you're welcome to call in. We're going to try to keep all these calls that you do come in to about 2 minutes. I want to get as many people on as I can, but we definitely want to start hearing you guys and what you have to say. We'll let you talk. And,
I don't know if Mars has 2 minutes of conversational ability in him, buddy.
What did he say that's got you so wound up there?
Oh, he's just saying stuff like
he's not saying anything wrong with the last time Oklahoma State won the Big 12. It was 2011, right? You got to answer. Okay.
Yeah. But no, he said O State fans are delusional. I don't know what we're delusioned about.
I think you're delusional too. I don't think that you finish any further up than what they've got you at. I don't.
Well, that's because you're a hater and you're okay. It's okay. It's all right.
It's not even. It's because I'm a hater. Oh.
Oklahoma has 50 championships. What are we talking about? Gymnastics, Mars? Come on, man.
What? Wait. What? All right, let me go back.
Says OU has 50 titles. Pipe down and win something. What are you? What is this guy talking about?
Oklahoma has 50 conference championships. 50.
See, I told you he doesn't have conversation ability. Dude can't even type. Step your game up, Mars. You and Hank are drinking together or what? Actually, I'll tell you this. Hank actually puts out some pretty legit stuff. I dig Hank. I'm a fan.
What?
Okay.
What?
Okay. Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
You'll have to show me how you do that stuff. That's pretty cool.
I've got the Rode the Rodecaster Pro 2. That's why.
That's dope. I like
the
that.
Rodecaster
Cool.
Pro 2. Yeah, I've got some cool stuff on here.
I don't know about that. Yeah, dude. Like I said, man, I am buying TCU. Right? Baylor's confusing to me. I can't stand Baylor just because their fan base blows my mind, man. They could be undefeated playing a top 5 team and still not sell out their stadium. Somebody please tell me how, a legitimate Power 5 football program still to this day cannot sell out a flipping fracking stadium. How is that possible?
Tell me how it is that you can not win a freaking game that matters in freaking 20 years.
I mean, I can't speak to that. Oklahoma State's famous.
You're going to sit there and talk trash.
Famous on dropping them. At least we sell out the stadium. What are you talking about, bro? We have people that show up to sell out. We sold out against Arkansas flipping Pine Bluff. And when I was a kid, there was never one day in my life you could have told me that Oklahoma State would ever sell out against an Arkansas Pine Bluff type of school. Well, now we do it on a regular basis. So I can talk crap in this department because we fill up our stadium, bro.
Y'all screw it up every year.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the problem is
so
that
hold on. How are
watch
Oklahoma
too much
State
this
fans
past season,
delusional?
bro.
Find me
If
an
you're
Oklahoma State fan that says that
because
we
I
don't
want to
screw
know
it up.
how you're going to have Alan Bowman being the starting quarterback and you expect him to do the same thing as what Spencer Sanders did. Tell me.
Because we're going to rush for 4.6 yards a carry every single game. That's how. Yep. I told you to bet me on that one too, and you didn't. So you missed the boat, bud.
What?
Yeah, find one of your things.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Y'all are going to get smoked, bro.
You're
going to get smoked. And especially when it comes to the Red River game. I'm with you guys on this one. And hey, that's what we have the bet on. That one for sure. They're going to lose by 21.
Yeah.
The brakes beating off. Brakes.
I love it, man.
Gotcha, bitch.
I love it. I love it. You and Hank and Mars need to send me the same beer y'all drink. Well, no, I don't want your Bud Light. I take that back.
Easy.
I take that back.
Easy. I think somebody just came in, did they? Jim Williams. Okay, we're gonna switch over to some just for a few minutes. We are gonna talk because he's only got a few minutes, I think. So we're gonna talk to him a little bit about let's see, where's that stupid thing at? Let me get that off of there. We're going to bring it in, talk a little bit of realignment as we're talking about. There's been some wacky stuff going on with San Diego State, so we're going to bring in Mr. Jim Williams. Hold on real quick here.
That's fine. My buddy Wet Blanket's in here having a ball. Having a ball in your comment section.
It's all, yeah, I see that. He can call in if he wants as well.
Tebow couldn't win the game. He had 90 million on the line. What? What?
Yeah, you know what he's talking about.
I don't. What about Tebow? I don't get it. Okay.
Mr. Williams, sir.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. You guys caught me in vacation mode here, so.
Oh,
vacation
no.
Mode. Well, you should have just told me that was the case. I would have understood that completely.
No, it's okay. For you guys, I'm here. You know, it's.
Well, that's great, Jim. This is my vacation.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is Avatar Jim here today.
Yeah, Avatar Jim. Yeah, there it is. So everybody, welcome in 7-time Emmy-winning TV producer and director, columnist for Forbes, Mr. Jim Williams. Talking a little bit, we've been talking a lot about this preseason Big 12 stuff. I know you probably don't know or care anything about it, but
hey, I follow you guys.
Some of it that's going on right now is, and I mean, I've actually tried to separate myself a little bit from this realignment talk because I'm sick of Pac-12 folks and the stuff that they have to say. I lost my mind a little bit the other day, so I just really hadn't been on Twitter much. But I did see, what the heck is this stuff with San Diego State and the Mountain West and the Pac-12? Is it that? Tell me what you think, and I want whatever news you got on it. I want to get to that, but is it that the Pac-12 didn't actually offer them a spot like they said?
Well, look, the way that it normally works is you are offered a spot or an invitation, I should say. It's rendered that way. In other words, if I want to invite San Diego State to join the conference, I formally send them a letter. And I mean, obviously, we've spoken on the phone and all that, so they're not going to reject the letter. But the point being that I will send them a formal, let's try to speak English here, Jim, a formal letter, at which point then they would send a formal letter to the Mountain West requesting the ability to leave. In other words, telling them we're going to leave and we want to give you guys, the alert that we're headed out. And they would then begin the process of either paying the $17 million had it been done a couple days ago, or negotiate down from the $34 million, which would presently be the situation. So, as many things as the Pac-12 has done poorly, this one's on San Diego State.
Okay.
You just don't.
Well, I mean, they took them out of the conference, right? I mean, they definitely pulled them out. They sent a letter because they took their board member out, right? So that,
I mean, they sent a letter, but the upshot of that letter was that two sides looked at it from a different way. One side saying, "Hey, look, we're going to leave the conference, but we need a little extra time." And then the people from the Mountain West, understandably,
said no.
Wait. You're telling me you're not gonna, you're leaving, but you don't know where you're leaving for, and you want an extension so you don't have to pay us more. You're nuts. So they held their feet to the fire. This is 100% on San Diego State.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again,
so weird, right?
It would be easy to lay it off on the Pac-12, but take a look at how SMU's handled this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kliavkoff was there physically on campus. You couldn't be in a more open situation when you literally go to the basketball game in front of everybody in the building, and TV, you're there. All right. So did SMU, pick up the phone and call Mike Oresco and say, "Hey, you know what? We have a chance, probably, possibly, maybe, to go to the Pac-12. We want to look at some negotiating deals to get out." They didn't. They did the right thing, and they're in the American until they're not. What San Diego State did was silly because they sent a letter without ever being formally invited. So if you're not formally invited, you're not a member of anything.
Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they're thinking either. I know that
they're not dumb people. I mean, they're smart folks out there. So I don't get it. I mean, that was one of those things where you looked at it and went, "Man, this is an unforced error. This is something you just shouldn't have done."
That's a good baseball reference, Jim. That was really nice. I saw what you did there.
Hey, this is why he's a 7-time Emmy winner, because he gets it. So what's the latest, though? I mean, are
they stuck like Chuck?
Is there a time in our future that we might see a new Pac-12 deal, since we keep hearing we are?
It'll happen. If it doesn't happen before the 21st, I guess it'll be 3 weeks from today. It's going to dominate what would be, frankly, the Pac-12 this year is going to be one of the most exciting, leagues in all of college football. With
definitely have the best quarterbacks.
Fantastic quarterbacks they have. So there's potential there, right? You would not want to, and here's where I feel sorry for the kids, right, and the coaches. They're going to go to that media day, and if there isn't a media deal done, then very few people are going to pay attention to all of the positive things that could be coming out of there. And it's all just going to be, well, when is this going to happen? When's that going to happen? When are we going to do this? So I'm hoping, and the reason I hope is because I don't want the kids to go and the coaches to go be subjected to every question other than what they want to talk about, which is what their teams are going to be playing like.
Yeah, it seems like you would probably just cancel media days if that's the case, if you're not going to have a deal, because they're not going to talk about anything else. Nothing. Right?
Reporters are not coming there,
and what else is their story about if they don't?
People will be there talking about it than the ones you want.
That's right.
You're not going to get the football writers there to talk about it. What you're going to get is, media and other people saying, "Okay, well, why is this not done yet?" So
now, Jim, if you don't mind my asking, since San Diego State has clearly put themselves in a very precarious situation, they clearly have no leverage in this. Is this an opportunity that maybe somebody like a Brett Yormark can leverage their mistakes against them?
You mean try to bring them into the conference, or what?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but I don't see any. I just don't see. The problem with that is, okay, you get San Diego State, and San Diego State is a fine group of, a good institution, and they've got, they've got certainly potential, certainly as much potential as any of the four they brought on. But I just don't see your mark adding them because they add no value at this moment. And I mean that by the deal is done. If my understanding is correct, they, meaning the Big 12, could get additional funds, from ESPN. I never heard anything about Fox kicking in much.
Well, Fox said that they would be open to discussion, but they wouldn't automatically give more G5 money.
So I don't know what would happen if it would be worth your mark adding a San Diego State at this point. I mean, there either one of two things is going to happen. One is the Pac-12 gets the media deal, then they go and they add SMU and San Diego State. Or number two, the Pac-12 doesn't get a media deal. Everybody gets antsy, and all of a sudden, it's a jailbreak. And at that point, you've got certainly 3, if not 4 schools that everybody's been focusing on. That also puts San Diego State in a position of being, not necessarily in position to, at the top of that 4-person list. They're just not going to be there. You can get 4 Power 5 conference teams as opposed to one other group of 6. You're going to take the Power 4. So
for sure,
they're really.
And I think that's what they need to do too. Yeah. I'm with you. I understand that so many people are against Utah because of all the ugliness and stuff that's been coming out of there. I understand that, and you're even starting to hear some of that coming out of ASU. But in the end, if you really want this conference to be powerful, I'm going to say this again. I don't see any other way to bring Utah in because of that, the Holy War. And then you need those, and you need both of the Arizona schools because that's another huge it's another huge rivalry, whether it's football, basketball, whatever. And that's what runs. We've said this 1,000 times. It's not market size. It's how many people are going to watch the shit.
Well, the other thing too, and I know people, because I've been on both BYU and Utah media.
Yes, you have.
Look, whatever beef they've got, that's their beef, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you cannot look at Utah, who's won back-to-back, Pac-12 championships, who's been to the Rose Bowl, gave Ohio State, night terrors in that game that they lost. And then, in fairness, they got beat by Penn State team that, Utah was depleted on that day. I'm not, all great to Penn State. Penn State did a good job and won. But my point being, you have an opportunity at a 2-time conference champion, and if you, with all due respect to those other 3 schools, right? Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado. None of those. You can put any one of them on the field. Utah probably beat them by double digits. You can't overlook the potential of bringing on a Utah. I mean, whether or not that's, they make you nuts or whatever, that's okay.
Yeah, listen, I get it. Yeah.
I mean, but I always use a wrestling analogy, right?
You got to have a heel, right?
You got to have a heel, and I'll take that. I mean, I'm an SEC guy, right?
Yeah, me too.
And Alabama's a heel in the conference. Although, in fairness, Georgia's getting close to replacing them in that position. But all kidding aside, I mean, you should want the best team in your conference, regardless of whether you like them or you dislike them.
Cody.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? I mean, that was
I get it. But I do take a little bit of a differing opinion in the stance that, I do think that the super conference thing could be a legitimate conversation. And if you're going to have that conversation right now, it's Big Ten, and clearly that makes sense. But the Big 12 is, in my opinion, head and shoulders above the ACC and the Pac-12 when it comes to security, viability, longevity as the third conference. So to me, if you already know you're the third best conference and you know that there's not a big differentiation between what ACC and Pac-12 can do to bridge that gap, I don't think it matters who you bring in. Now, I believe that we should bring in the four corner schools. We should bring in the four corners. But if you're talking about future security, viability, in essence, you could bring in 3 of the four corner schools and a San Diego State or an SMU or a Tulane or a blind school for the deaf and dumb, and it still accomplish the same thing.
Well, I'm not gonna disagree with that. I think that you could bring in the 3 schools that you talked about in San Diego State. I'm not going to disagree with you on stability. I just think personally that, you know, the Utah brand and what Utah would bring to the party, in my mind, outweighs Arizona State. It outweighs Arizona.
Oh, I agree. I would prefer Utah, but you know, at the same time, I do think that it would be slightly complacent upon most of our parts to assume that you have to bring in 4 Power Fives or the Big 12 doesn't benefit whatsoever. I'm just saying, I don't care what 3 Power Fives and what G5, whatever iteration of that you put together, right. I still think it accomplishes the same thing. And you're right. Utah carries the most water of everybody. So Utah would be the most beneficial to the Big 12. And Jason even alluded to that the Holy War would essentially replace what you're losing in the Red River and Bedlam. So yeah, I'm on board. I've said 1,000 times, Utah would be the best bet. I don't buy that you have to go 4 Power Fives or it's all lost.
You're right. You do not. Okay. I agree with you on that point. The point being that what I'm saying is if you want to add San Diego State, and there's many reasons to add them, not the least of which is you get to the West Coast and you have a fourth time zone, which is important. So yes, I'm not saying I'm not disagreeing with you on the San Diego State side with that regard. I'm just simply saying, from what I understand, that ESPN and and Fox are likely not to pay to bring them on. So, and if they choose to add them, that's fine. But they're not going to bring in any money more to the conference, where Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah, all 4 of them, again, my understanding with regards to the Big 12, they would be given some cash.
Absolutely.
Yeah, guys.
I love it, man.
I could bring on, here's what, and it's a funny thing you mentioned it. If it were me, it's not, but if I were your Mark, I would take maybe Colorado and one of the Arizona schools, right? And then I would take San Diego State and Tulane. Because what it does is it then gives you 4 time zones. They don't have, you can start a game, I guess.
Right.
At 11 o'clock in the morning. But Tulane, I think, gives them, a viability in, Louisiana area, and plants you right dead center, in a good recruiting bed, and then you get Southern California. So, I may take 2 group of 6 teams and 2, Power 5 conferences.
Atta baby, Jim. Atta baby. I like it.
I would disagree with that, just because I'm still of the agreement. I believe that rivalries make everything. ASU, Arizona, for them not to be playing, and not necessarily that they wouldn't play. I think that they would continue to play, but I still feel like that's. Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time with that one. But I do understand what you're talking about on the time zone part. I don't know that would matter to me as much. But the other part of it being, I guess, that San Diego State, obviously, they've had a good football program, and they've actually had obviously, they just played for the national championship in basketball. And if you are trying to be a basketball conference, that does make sense.
Jim, I'm sorry Jason's being so mean to you. I think you're a genius.
I'm being mean to him? What, are you kidding? Are you kidding? I don't agree with that part. But I do agree that, listen, I definitely understand it, but
I'm not the arbiter of good taste in my own house. So why would I be upset with that?
Well, you are married.
That is fair, sir. That is fair.
Very
So
funny.
no, and look, any number, mix a deck of cards up of 4, deal them out of that group of 6 I just mentioned, and you're still going to be fine. I mean, the funny thing is, when we talked about this, before things all went to, hell in a handbasket, there wouldn't have been I wouldn't have had any problem if I'm the the Big 12. I'd have been very happy with what it had, even not adding anybody, regardless. So, whatever you add is at this point is gravy.
Yeah,
I agree.
Hey Jim, I did want to ask you about off the subject of realignment.
Hey, stop being mean to him, Jason. You better stop.
No. This is a Florida guy, and so as a Florida guy,
I'm just messing with you,
bro. Ask you, what do you think about Gus Malzahn saying that they're just as good as the other big 3? That there should be a big 4. I got to get your opinion on this.
What time of the day was that?
I don't know. That's a great question.
If it was after 5 o'clock, I would think he's crazy. No, no.
5 o'clock somewhere, Jim. Ask Hank. He knows.
That's true. No. Central Florida is not as good as. He's not going to walk in and be, one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the conference.
I know, man. It's so weird too, and they've been throwing shots in the direction of the Big 12 for the last 2 weeks, and it's hilarious to me. But then I've never ever seen Florida fans or Florida people, Florida content creators taking up for FSU and Miami, and FSU content creators taking up for Florida and Miami, and Miami content creators taking up for Florida and FSU until Gus said that. I can't believe it. So, wow. I was just like, wow. Me,
the thing is that for a number of years, right?
Yeah.
The state of Florida had it wasn't really necessarily a law, if you will, but it was a gentleman's agreement between the state schools in Florida that Florida State and Florida at the time, in Miami they can't control because Miami's a private school, that if FSU would play South Florida, the Gators would play Central Florida. The following year, then it'd be A&M and maybe FAU, all right, or FIU, one of those groups. So eventually, Florida and Florida State would play every, school in the state. Obviously, they play, FSU once a year, but FSU and Florida would eventually play South Florida, Central Florida, FAU, and FIU, because it would be beneficial to the state schools, to pick up a check for traveling to the Swamp or to Doak Campbell Stadium.
Right.
So that's been the way it's been for a long time. I will tell you that Gator fans have gotten so sick of hearing about how good UCF is that they're ready to, march over to Orlando and slap some people. FSU doesn't even pay attention to them anymore. So it's
TJ was on them pretty good one day. It was pretty funny.
Yeah,
because TJ, it was TJ and then Allie Peak.
Oh, okay.
I heard both of them, and I couldn't believe it. They were taking up for each other. It was pretty weird. I gotta say. And then High Top weak sauced out and was like, "Oh, I don't blame him." It was pretty weak sauce of High Top. So I gotta say, I'm gonna bust his chops because he's in the comments talking trash right now here, Jim. But yeah, Jim Williams, I appreciate you coming into the show today. Is there anything else new on the horizon that we should be looking for in this realignment stuff?
Not anytime soon. I don't think anybody's moved at least till the
right before their media days.
For media days, and once media days are over, I don't think anybody's moving.
Okay.
And just for the record, I've been wrong before.
Yeah, listen, I think that the thing about you, and I'm not saying you've never been wrong, but the thing is you actually hear real things that are out there, and instead of a lot of this stuff that you're seeing, we've talked about this before, that there's going to be a lot of credibility that's going to go right down the tubes at the end of this, because we know where it's headed and how it's getting there. And thankfully, you know, I like the Jim Williams of the world, the Dennis Dodds of the world, you know, that are telling the truth out there, and instead of just, you know, listening to GK or whoever it is out there that's pulling those strings. It's just crazy to me. But and in the end, I mean, you know, we've talked about this. I don't really have to have a dog in the fight with Oklahoma headed to the SEC. I don't really have a dog in the fight on that anymore. But I get really, it's this looking down your nose stuff. It's an ugly thing for everybody, and it's sad that they don't go after the Big Ten, who actually, you know, has their blood on their hands, which they don't want that.
They kneecap them first.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Indeed. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you,
so
Jim.
much for tuning in, Jim. We appreciate it, and we will definitely catch up with you here after you get back off of vacation. Enjoy the rest of it.
Thank you, and have a lovely weekend, guys.
Hey, you
have a
good
same. One, brother. Have a good one.
Take care.
Folks,
yes, sir.
Jim Williams from JW Media in DC. He is a columnist for Forbes magazine. He is the guy when it comes to conference realignment talk. This guy tells the truth. You don't get a lot of truth out there anymore, Cody. You don't get a lot of truth out there anymore, right? And it's just been, to me, I've been so over it.
Okay, so we've got to go through your comment section, because I'm sure you've noticed there was some craziness going on in there.
Oh, yeah, listen, I love it.
Yeah, but before, you know, Cody gets his professor on and teaches some things or seven, legitimately speaking, when you do think about the realignment stuff, why do you think the Pac-12 keeps pushing the goalpost back on this? Oh, it'll be next week. Oh, it'll be next month. Oh, it'll be next month.
Because I don't think they have a deal, right? And they're trying to stay alive, you know? Okay. To me, my feeling is that, I mean, you haven't heard from GK in forever, right? I mean, when's the last time we've heard from George Kliavkoff? Was it December? January?
It was right after he made the we're not shopping in the Big 12 yet comment.
Right. Well, he was saying that they were going to have a deal towards the end of December. He was saying within a month or so they were going to have a deal, right? And they've pushed the Big 12 and blah blah blah.
Literally,
blah, blah, blah. Right.
They have literally pushed this thing back like 6, 7 times. Not normally a good sign if you've been in the art of negotiation for a job. If your employer keeps pushing back your raise, you're probably not going to like your raise, bud.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, and that's what I'm saying. It's just weird to me that all this is this whole thing has just been odd, right? Just time after time after time that you push it back and you push it back, and then but we're all supposed to believe that they're going to have this better deal. My feeling is it's the only thing that they have to be doing this is that they're hoping that one of these schools jumps, then they don't have to take the blame. Well, they left.
Right.
You know, we had a deal. They left, and so the deal crumbled. I think if you had a deal, you don't leave SDSU hanging out there on the vine like that. I mean, I get what I definitely understand what they were saying, what Jim was saying about it. It was definitely their own fault, right? But I mean, it was San Diego State's fault. I understand that, but I also feel like, I mean, at some point, if you're going to expand and you're leaving them out there saying, okay, yeah, we want San Diego State. I feel like if the Big 12 was going to get them, didn't they already offer to, or did they not? Apparently, because obviously they didn't come over.
We haven't yet, but
it's weird to me. Obviously, they were getting word that they were going to be coming to the Pac-12, or else they would not have sent that letter off, right? I mean, you would hope not. Otherwise, maybe they're as dumb as the Pac-12 acted like they were for the last 30 years.
Wet blanket, bro. What are you talking? I don't even know what he's talking about with this Oklahoma State Matrix in 2011 crap.
Oh no, that was your boy. Yeah. Oh, what Matrix? Yeah, he was talking about the Matrix, the Collie Matrix championship that Oklahoma State had in 11. I guess I didn't know they did.
I've heard nothing of that, but I will talk about 1945 because you wanted to put in there that people were coming back from war. Well, I mean, dude, it's historical. It's not my fact. It's not my fault.
Notre Dame won the damn thing that year. Notre Dame won the thing.
War. Hold on, guy. America entered the war and when? 1941. Stop telling people that we were going to war in 1945.
I didn't say going to war. I said they were at war.
Most people were coming back from war. Yeah, and that's why Oklahoma State, as well as Texas A&M, Kansas State, all of your ag schools were offering veterans a way to, grow their own crops and run their own businesses and so on and so forth. So, yeah, we got a lot of hardcore, chiseled vets that already
still didn't win the Associated Press National Championship. They didn't. You can say that if you want to.
Say that again. Say that again. I didn't hear what you said.
It wasn't the AP National Championship, which is how it was. It's how it was decided until it went to BCS, and you know that. Which one did they?
Why did the AFCA?
Why did it take them until
historically? Mother trucker, are you going to fucking let me talk? Or are you just going to keep blah 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 blah?
Go ahead.
Okay, so again, stop presenting inaccuracies with your people, and it might help out, right? You got another person over here blabbing about how Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy will never recruit anybody in the Dallas area. Really? Because if you combined Texas A&M, and TCU right now,
I didn't say that.
I know you didn't. I was addressing one of your people in the comments as well. We're dispelling myths, right? You got people in your comments that are blowing a bunch of wazoo out there with no context to reality or historically factual. And then the 1945 thing, you, sir, are encouraging the inaccuracies by saying that it was AP only. And to make this correction, why did the AFCA do all this? Because back in the voting or back in the day, where did all the voting come from? Every publication was where?
The AP.
The East Coast.
Okay.
There was no publications in the Midwest. Zero. None. So how could they have statistically gone over who should have been the national champion? It's just like the Bob Fenimore argument. Bob Fenimore did not win the Heisman in 1945, despite being 11 yards away from the first two place guys combined by himself. And again, why did Bob Fenimore not get the Heisman? Because all of the voting took place in the East Coast. Nobody knew who Bob Fenimore was. When you go back and look statistically, historically, he had 1,641 yards by himself. I'm telling you why this AP argument you're trying to claim is horse piss.
That's the one that everybody claims. I can tell you that Oklahoma has 11 national championships that came from different places that they don't claim.
And then we had publications that have come out and fixed it because they knew that the voting was rigged back then. That's a fact, Jack.
Are you serious, bro?
100%. I just told you statistically why Bob Fenimore didn't get the Heisman. Right? Like, stop looking down, look up, say it with your chest.
I don't care about the Heisman. I could care less about the Heisman. What are you talking about?
The point is the voting was fake. It was skewed. They were going to give it to the guys who finished first and second played for guess who? Army West Point. That's what I'm saying, man. There's a reason these corrections have been made.
Army didn't win it. It was Notre Dame that won it.
No, what?
Notre Dame won the national championship in 1945.
I'm talking about the Heisman, my guy.
Why are we talking about the Heisman? I'm talking about, you brought up that I'm bringing up stuff
because you're saying the AP was the end-all be-all. And I'm trying to tell you there's historical precedents that prove that the voting was not right.
How come it took you so long to claim it then? Tell me.
We didn't claim it, smart guy. That's the point. That's what I'm trying to get to you. Oklahoma State University never came out and said, we would like to be national title champions at one point in time. The American Football Coaches Association are the ones who gave it to Oklahoma State. And they also gave Army West Point multiple statistical times where they could submit evidence proving that they were wrong and changing the publication. And Army West Point hasn't to this day, and they never will because they can't. And again, you just tried to say the 1945 was won by Notre Dame. No, that's not correct. They gave it to Army West Point. Come on, man. Why are you spewing shit?
1940. Okay, let's look it up. Let's look it up. I knew it was one of the two, but I'm almost sure that it's freaking Notre Dame.
Yeah, you're almost sure about a lot of stuff. I love you, but you sound like some of your commenters in here.
Oh, dude, you better stop.
It's historical evidence. It's not my fault that people don't like to read.
Okay. Let's see. I'm pulling it up. 1945. They've got Army. Okay, it was Army. My bad. I swear I saw Notre Dame.
I do
Army's
this.
just okay, fine. But Army, they were undefeated too. Alabama was also undefeated. They freaking beat. They were the SEC champions that beat freaking SC in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, but dude, you got you even
Oklahoma,
admit back
on
then
the,
the
on
SEC
the regular rankings. Listen, look at the rankings here. The AP poll. Oklahoma State, as Oklahoma A&M, didn't show up until number 5. Hell, Navy was ahead of them with a loss.
Do you listen? Do your ears work? Why? The question is, why did that happen? I already given you the answer. It's your turn. Why were the publications? Why were the publications?
So you're just going to go with the whole East Coast bias thing? Is that what we're going with? That's what you're doing?
Again, it's not my fault that you don't like to fucking read. That's the facts. That's exactly why the people have come out and changed things, because the voting was skewed.
There's always biases. Of course. It's been biased. It's been a biased freaking poll. It's always a bias.
Okay, dude. If there's let's just say if there's 55 newspapers and 54 of them in the same place, how are you going to say that it's not skewed? Come on, man.
I didn't say that there was not a bias to it. What I'm telling you is that you're going to tell me that they're better. They were wrong about 4 other teams being better than Oklahoma State.
Yes, because Oklahoma State didn't get seen. Oklahoma A&M was not a football school. We were an afterthought. Nobody thought about us, and nobody realized who we were.
They still haven't won one since. They still haven't won one since, but they should have won.
See, there you go. Now you're back to being accurate. Congratulations. You did it. You have arrived.
They haven't won one since, but we're supposed to give them that one. Are you kidding me? Come on, bro.
Bro, it's not my fault that you're wrong. It's not my fault that you won't do the
thing
research
up. At least back something up at once, at one time. Come on. It's not legit. It's not legit. It's not a legit championship.
Okay, listen.
It's never going to be a legit championship.
Because you want to ignore evidence and you want to talk about credibility? Come on, bro. Come on, I am bringing it. And you're saying, hold on. Your response is, it's not legit. I don't have any way to convince it's not legit.
The AP voted freaking 4 teams over the top. 4.
And again, ask yourself why, Jason.
I'm not going to ask myself. I'm telling you that's the measuring stick for national champions until the BCS came along was always the Associated Press.
All right, then answer me this. Answer me this. How does OU have a national championship in 1974 while they're under a probation and a ban from all postseason activities?
Who
gave him that? Hold on. Who gave him that national title?
The Associated Press.
The AP. Exactly. Even though you guys were banned from bowl games and you were banned from recruiting violations.
They were voted the best team in the country by the team that
by the AP.
The national
right. That's what I'm saying. The AP is garbage, bro.
The people that picked the national champions, bro.
I'm proving your point. The AP is not the end-all, be-all. How much more do you want? I can do this all day.
It was the end-all, be-all until the BCS came along, and now the CFP.
And those are multiple governing bodies that are in multiple.
Oklahoma State. None of those guys were freaking alive then. Wet blanket. Hush. Stop
That's why they did it statistically, which is why I brought up the stats between Bob Finnemore not winning the Heisman. You're trying to act like that it doesn't make sense. I'm trying to statistically help you out here, and you keep saying it's not legit.
Listen, there was 4 teams that were voted ahead. How can it's not real? It's when the entity
and you won a national title while on probation.
The entity that was charged with awarding the national champion did not have them in its top 4.
Yeah, and dude, I've already told you why. Do I need to say it again?
I don't care about why. I'm telling you
exactly. You don't care.
Doing it.
You care more about pushing some bull crap than you do about accuracy.
It's always been about who's in charge of making the national champion. It always has been.
Okay.
You asked about Oklahoma. They were voted by the AP.
The AP, exactly. That's my point. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The AP is not the end all be all of everything.
They have no nothing. The AP is nothing to you. Okay.
They've been proven to be biased. That's my point.
Everybody's
just like that's the same reason we went to the BCS.
You're biased about it. Everybody's biased.
I just like stats and facts, buddy. That's all.
stats and facts. You cannot play that. Let's go from this angle. When we played these guys, you played these guys. They don't play the same teams. They didn't play all the same teams, obviously. So what do the stats mean? Who did you play that was so much better than the teams that they played? Where are you going to do that? How are you going to even do that? You can't prove that. It's not provable.
Did a single person who did the voting that lived in the East Coast watch Oklahoma A&M play a football game?
I don't know.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
It's I was alive till 1976, buddy.
No, you're right. I'm sure a lot of New York newspapers decided to hop on a train to go to middle of nowhere, Oklahoma, and watch football games.
There's no way of proving any of this. There's no way of proving any of this.
I'm not the AFCA. They're the ones that proved it. They're the ones that statistically, historically did this. Not Cody Stovall, buddy. Not Oklahoma State,
there was
buddy.
Some kind of and coaches polls, we can prove how these coaches polls are just as bad because none of those coaches watch football. So we can do all this all day long, and you can diss the AP. I can diss the AFCA. I can diss the freaking coaches polls from the USA Today. I can diss ESPN's polls. We do it all the time, right? I mean, in the end, the entity that was charged with naming a national champion until the BCS came along was who? The AP. And it took forever for OSU to get this mythical national title.
Listen.
Look, and I don't really give a crap. What do I care?
Well, I'm just trying to help you.
Oklahoma has
help you not put out false.
How many? Somebody go and look. How many AFCA national championships does Oklahoma have? Because I know that there's 11 that they haven't claimed. I don't know where they've come from. I don't care. They don't claim.
That's my point, bro. You claim one while you're under probation.
Okay. Well, you want to go in there? If you're going to tell me that that's the case, if you're going to tell me that the AFC, hey, look, I know that happened. I'm talking about if you're going to tell me that the AP doesn't matter and the AFCA does, I'm going to bet you that Oklahoma has a few of those too that they don't claim.
You're very likely right, dude. Oh, anyways, so we'll go back to my professor lesson. You had somebody in here that was saying that Gundy will never get a Dallas guy, and right now Oklahoma State has more Dallas commits.
I don't know why they're saying that. Hey, look, they do.
We have more commits from the DFW than Texas, TCU, and A&M combined. Okay. I'm just here to help. I'm a historical teacher. I'm here to help your people. All right.
Okay. I'm not watching all these comments in here. There's way too many of them. There's way too many of them, folks. If you want to make sure that your comment gets on here, hit us with a super chat.
True.
We'll make sure it pops up there. You know, when you have this many people in here and we're talking about this many things, there's no way for us to get to it. But I appreciate everybody coming in and making these comments. These are fun. Make sure that you're hitting the like button, please, as well. Let me go and check on this stream. How many likes do we got?
Hank said, let's talk about this 5-7 record. Hank, if Oklahoma State goes 5-7, I will shave my head and my beard while wearing a Speedo live on whatever channel you want at any point in time. That is a preposterous statement. We would have to lose 3 quarterbacks and 3 running backs for that to happen.
Come on, bro. Come on. Okay. Folks, there's 19 likes. We got almost 40 people in here right now, and you guys only can't hit that like button. Help us out here. You don't have to send tips if you don't want to. Just make sure that you hit that like button. We also have official podcast merchandise. You can throw the horns down with the horns down hat. You can also get up to $100 off of any Black Label Louisiana grill by using our partner link, hofmedia.us/Louisiana-grills. Amazing pellet smokers and grills. Cool stuff, man. Can't wait to get mine. And then
that is badass.
Make sure that you get gear ready for the season. We have less than 60 days left until the start of the college football season. Get over to our official partner store on Fanatics, up to 65% off everything in the store. Sometimes it's free shipping. So you're going to get great deals, the best deals you can get on Fanatics by using our partner link, hofmedia.us/fanatics. Guys, the freeway, just hit the like button. Just hit the like button. Share us with your friends. We are approaching 2,000 subscribers. We would love it to hit that here in the next couple of days. I think we've been bouncing up more and more all the time. We appreciate that all the time. Guys, oh gosh, sooner
let's circle back around to where we can all get on the same page, and Texas sucks.
Oh yeah, let's do something real quick. Let's do something real quick with the Texas thing. I want you to see something.
It's 19 to
I really feel like our team's on a mission.
Kim, I can count.
We've been building for this all winter, all spring. These guys have been on a mission to win a Big 12 championship. Guys that are putting forth the necessary effort and means to try to be a champion.
We wear Texas on our chest for a reason, bro. Come to work every day.
The veteran players, Jaylan Ford at linebacker, Jordan Whittington's leadership has been great. What I've seen out of Xavier Worthy has been phenomenal. We have Baron Sorrell back. We have Byron Murphy. We have Trevondre Sweat. Jade and Barron have made a lot of impactful plays. JT Sanders is just a budding star. Quinn has had a great offseason. He's really putting in the time to make it all come together. We're going to define who we're going to be by the way we play. It's really not what anybody else thinks. It's about what we do.
That was special, wasn't it?
I mean, it got me a little fired up. I'm ready to hit the field, coach. Put me in. I'm ready to play.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm telling you that all this is every year. And it's funny. It seems to me like Sark is actually kind of putting more on himself. When he was on the Pivot podcast, he was like, this feels like, looks like my team. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, and it should feel like you're going to look like your team at this point, right?
For sure.
But yeah, and Sean, no, you're not. You're not waxing my back. First and foremost, I don't need that. Number two, there's no way that I don't see them win. And look, it's been 2009 since they won a conference championship, guys. 2009. We've been hearing about how they're back. And again, until Sark wins 10 games, can you expect him to do it? Are you shitting me?
No, I just think out of the last decade, this is their best chance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So.
Oh, and Kim, hold on. Kim got me there. Yeah, the record's like, what, 19 and 98 or something like that. But
it's 92 and 19. 92 19 and like 11.
I would like to point out one thing that, and this is where I do have a problem with Oklahoma State. Back in the day, right, you know this, in 1907, even they tried to make the game of football illegal presidentially. Back in the day, wrestling was like the American sport. So Oklahoma State spent all of our time and money in wrestling. OU, on the other hand, actually, you had your first official coach in 1898. Oklahoma State didn't hire a legitimate full-time football coach till 1914. We didn't have our first win until 1917. And we didn't realistically start putting money in the budget for football until the mid to late 1920s. So there is a massive disparity between the Bedlam record, and it is fair. OU focused on football very early on. Oklahoma State did not, and it took us 50 years before we woke the hell up. And that's why I'll always give OU props. And some of my OSU people give me a hard time, like, why do you give as much respect as you do to OU in the record? It's because y'all earned it. You backed the right horse at the right time. We've decided to go full tilt wrestling. Matter of fact, we had a player manager coach all the way up until like 1907, 1908. So OU put stock in football. You hired a real coach in Parrington was his last name. Vernon Parrington. I think y'all hired him in like 1901.
Yeah. Bro, Sean, are you insane? Well, why do you want to wax me all of a sudden? What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? I don't know. No.
Sean, you need to stop sharing your Bud Light with Hank, buddy. Y'all need to quit it.
Who the fuck is that guy?
No,
I like that.
I'm not going there.
Unboxing. No, you're right. That's what I'm saying. I give props to OU. We focused on the wrong thing.
Look,
Well,
Look,
OU went to the right thing, and it was a good
and
move.
here's the deal. The problem is now that we don't have to talk about we don't need to talk about 1945 or the national champions before any of us were alive. Let's talk about modern era in that. And in that part, you're not close. So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, okay. But in modern era, you have to admit, since 2008, 9, all of the Bedlams have been for something.
They've been worth something, and you haven't won them.
No, I'm saying they're for something. I know we haven't won them, buddy. I'm just saying when
people
say that it's not competitive and stuff. I mean,
1,000 times is the problem is I don't understand how this guy keeps his job and everybody still loves him so much. He even burns out his fan base. I mean, you get, God forbid you say anything that's critical of him at all, then all of a sudden you get banished from the media stuff. It's stupid. And he should be called to the carpet, and he's not. The guy gets paid, and he gets paid like he's won a freaking national championship, and he doesn't even win conference championships.
I mean, that's fair. That's a you know what I mean? That's a fair criticism. But you want to see growth. You want to see your coach change over time. Adaptation is important.
Think about it. Could you tell me that like Willie Fritz or freaking we've talked about Jeff Traylor? Come on. One of these guys would, if you gave them near that kind of money, they would out recruit him. They would, I mean, and I will say this, they've done pretty well on the problem with what happened is the guys that they lost. There was that many people that left, right? It's not just the who's, it's the amount.
Well, like I said, man, we've kind of unboxed a little of this before. Losing Spencer Sanders will hurt. Absolutely. No doubt. Losing a couple of those wide receivers will hurt. Absolutely. No doubt. But
defensive players, absolutely, no doubt.
Well, see, that's where, I mean, we only lost one real starter, man.
Oh, stop it.
Again, stats lives matter. Who is the starter that played every single snap that we lost? Mason Cobb.
Playing every single step. But think about it. You're going to tell me that Trace Ford hadn't been a starter. He hadn't been healthy, but he was a starter when he was there. Do not start that. And it.
You're okay. Hold on. You're trying to tell me that the Trace Ford that had back-to-back ACL.
What about your defensive backs?
Don't ask a question if you don't want the answer.
What about
don't ask a question
that you lost?
What?
Safeties. What? Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me.
Bro, you're trying. What? I don't even know what the hell you're saying. What are you saying?
Did you not lose like your
Trace
best
Ford
safety?
was not the starter over Colin Oliver. No.
Okay. I just asked you about your safeties.
See, I couldn't hear you because I was still trying to have conversation. The only safety that we lost was Thomas Harper. And then Jark Bernard Converse obviously transferred 2 years ago to LSU. This offseason, we lost one corner and Jabbar Muhammad to Washington. We also brought in Ladarius Webb Jr. as a replacement. Ladarius Webb Jr.'s dad played for the Baltimore Ravens for 9 years, won a Super Bowl, knows a little something about the game of football. And then from the linebacker position, Mason Cobb left with 98 tackles. That cannot be understated, right? That is a massive evaluational miss that we're going to have. But we did bring in Justin Wright, who had 121 tackles as a junior, 101 tackles as a redshirt junior at Tulsa. I know it's Tulsa, but you cannot replicate numbers. Is he is good? Not even close. Will he fill a need in this new 3-3-5 defense? Absolutely. As far as wide receiver, you bring in Leon Johnson III, 6'4", 215 pounds, runs a 4.5 40 as a wide receiver. Dejon Stribling was a starter at Washington State, came to Oklahoma State. He shaved supposedly upwards of 0.2 of a second off of his 40 in one offseason at Oklahoma State. So yeah, dude, this fallacy that Oklahoma State lost a bunch of starters is nonsense. It's stupid. We lost Mason Cobb, check. We lost Spencer Sanders, check. We lost Jabbar Muhammad, check. We lost Bryson Green, who was a third-string guy, but did have a lot of snaps. Check. Stephon Johnson was the best freshman we had on the roster on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, we lost him. Check. But again,
Thomas Harper.
We're not going to – Thomas Harper was the safety that we lost, which is actually kind of an odd one because his brother, played at Oklahoma State for 5 years, went to the NFL, carved out a little role for himself with the Dallas Cowboys. I think a lot of people thought that Thomas Harper would stay.
What about Jason Taylor?
Jason Taylor went to the draft.
Okay, so he went to the draft. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one I was thinking about too. Why? Okay.
And hold on. If you're going to ask,
when did he get picked in the draft? By the way,
5th round, 6th round.
Man. What the hell?
But and then when people are going to ask, okay, well, why does that make it okay? Well, because Trey Rucker didn't have the ability to play last season. He started at Wake Forest and then came to Oklahoma State, had a year to kind of get rocking and rolling. He was the guy. When he did get in the game, he drew a bunch of penalties because he played with a bunch of reckless abandon. But who replaces the guy who went to the NFL? That's going to be Kendall Daniels. And I know you know all about Kendall Daniels.
I know who Kendall Daniels is. Yeah. Listen, I have a hard time believing. And here's the thing. You're learning a new system. You're learning and really 2 new systems.
Yes,
right?
That's true.
And we saw it last year that when you come in and it's in the 3-3-5 is much more complex than what they were doing.
Yeah.
We saw what that did to Oklahoma. And talent was a big part of that as well. You had a couple of guys that were pretty good, and thankfully for OU, they did well in the portal as well to bring guys in there like that. The guys that were good stayed. But I can tell you that's a hard thing to do. Even if you do rush for freaking 3,500 yards like what you're talking about, are they going to stop anybody?
I think the answer to that question is our safety room this year is significantly above where OU's safety room was last season. I think that's going to be the thing that helps us hang in there.
Well, maybe that, but okay.
But you guys are better at linebacker.
Listen, way better at linebacker. And what about at the defensive line position? Who do you got coming in there? Is it going to be better? Are they going to get some pressure? Because that's very important to the 3-3-5.
Write this down. Everybody out there.
Go for it.
The Big 12 newcomer of the year will be Justin Kirkland, our defensive tackle.
How big is this guy? I forgot. He's a big kid, right?
Yeah, he's 6'4", 340, 350.
Nice.
And yeah,
But that's one dude.
Who
like
else
they got? Okay, we're just talking. Hey, and I've said this a bunch about SC. Good for them that they got Bear. What else you got?
Right.
Because these dudes ain't gonna go 60 fucking snaps. We know this.
Well, Nathan Latu, we got to see a little bit of him. Snaps. We got to see Nathan Latu a little bit last year. Like his brother's the tight end for Alabama. I expect him to have a pretty good year. I think everybody from the Oklahoma area remembers Deshaun Brown from Choctaw, Oklahoma, 4-star guy that OU did actually go after pretty heavy at the end. We're able to retain him. And then, you've got some other guys like Colin Clay transferring from Arkansas, played a lot last year, but had to kind of, sit behind some of the seniors that we had, like a Brennan Evers and a Brock Martin. Those are guys that should be able to come in immediately. Aiden Kelly got a lot of PT last year. He should be another guy that's going to be able to roll in there. And then Israel Human Hunley. I think he's going to surprise some people athletically. But we're not as good at the D-line as we were last season. We're not as deep. But we have the one thing that Baylor proved makes your defense complete. When you're running this 3-3-5, you got to have the guy in the middle that can eat up double, triple teams on a daily basis.
That guy in the middle is one guy. It's not.
Yeah, but if one guy's eating up 3 blocks, you know what that does.
Do it for a whole game, though. That's the whole problem.
And that's what you did. You did ask, and that's why I said Colin Clay is going to be the other guy in that realm, and Aiden Kelly will be as well. And as far as the defensive end goes, that is our weakness, in my opinion.
What's the big drop-off there, right? I mean, there's a big drop-off once you get away from Kirkland to the other guys, isn't there?
I'm not Colin Clay, but after Colin Clay, yeah. If we have an injury to one of those two, it'll be a difficult thing to build around. But here's the deal. You are right. Defensive line is important. That is our weakness in the system.
3-3-5, it's the most important thing.
Our strength is going to be our safeties here.
Okay. Well,
because right, the 3-3-5 is just the 4-2 base, right? And then that extra guy is usually a nickel package type of guy. That's our nickel package guy.
Though, you got to. Here's the deal. If you're not able to throw, okay, here's where I'm going to tell you that I don't agree and why I don't agree. It's not really.
Yeah.
First off, they're learning new systems. They're running, but if you got a guy like. You got Bowman in there, and I don't know that he ends up being the starter forever. Who's to say?
I don't either.
I would hope, and if you want them to win more than 5 games, I would say you need not him in there. But because here's why. If you're not able to stop people consistently, right, And even running the football, if you get down 14 points and you got to throw now and you really can't do it.
Yep.
So this could happen. If in running the ball, it's not always going to affect unless you're breaking them all the time. But if they know that's coming and there's no threat of being able to complete passes, I don't see how that ends up working out. 3,500 yards only works if you can balance it enough with the pass. There has to be the threat or they load the box up on you. You know that. Come on. You're a football guy. You get it.
I know. And again, like I'm saying, our saving grace is going to be our safeties, which is a little bit different. Our 3-3-5 is not going to look like everybody else's 3-3-5 because of our safety room. Now, you are right. If it goes sideways and you don't have the guys up front, it can go sideways real quick. And then you are put in a position where you have to pass the ball a considerable amount, which that's not.
And then what happened? Yeah, that's because I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I'm going to be honest with you.
Little Gundy is the guy that they ought to be trying to play. I don't know why they don't. And I also think that Rangel, he looked a little better towards the end of the year. I think Gunner looked better than any of them, though, throughout the year, other than Spencer, obviously. But Spencer kept getting hurt because they were getting him beat to death.
Well, and he's hurt right now, dude. He put up like 340 yards and 5 touchdowns in their spring game. Yeah. Ole Miss's spring game, and then he got hurt. Like,
I mean, he's gotten beaten up a little bit. I get it.
He was our running game.
They need to run the ball better. Yeah, listen.
He was our running game last year. He was all
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Well, yeah, but we, like I said, man, we got everybody is a Cowboys fan.
When you don't, because here's the thing: Spencer could throw, but he wasn't great at it. No. He threw a lot of interceptions, man. So
he does what Bowman does. He drops NFL level dimes that awe you, and then he'll throw 2 picks right after that. That's what we saw this spring.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
Garrett Rangel.
I've said it 1,000 times. I don't like hearing that we lost that we missed out on going to the CFP by 6 inches. 6 inches and freaking 4 interceptions.
Well, to me, that was just game plan.
Bad. I get that. I get that. But how do you come up with the game plan at that point like that when you beat the crap out of them earlier and you don't figure something out? You know, the adjustment thing, it's not just a Sark issue with these days. You could see, and we talked about this after that TCU game when they're up 17 and blow that thing. Good grief, man.
Hank, Arizona State ain't going to spank now, not a nobody. Calm down, buddy. Calm down.
I think it may be.
And you know what?
I don't know. I don't know, though. I don't know how much you can believe in what these guys are doing. And, yes, I think that's the thing. Gundy's kid, the kid knew the offense when he was freaking 2.
Well, we're not running the same offense. I mean, that's one thing.
I get it. But if you're a head coach's son, bro, you should know them all.
Yeah, no, guys, Gunnar Gundy had the most impressive spring. I didn't say the best,
I agree.
But he wasn't expected to do much because of the shoulder surgery and stuff. But 3 days before our first scrimmage, he was fully released. He was only going to get a couple snaps and not really do much. I think he only got 11 snaps. In that 11 snaps, he threw 3 touchdowns and 0 picks.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gunnar Gundy has done some stuff. But the problem with Gunnar Gundy, and this is, I feel bad for him. I think Gunnar Gundy should go somewhere. I think Gunnar Gundy could start at a Tulsa, North Texas, right here, right now, UTSA, and be massively productive. He just
I don't know why TCU was all over him and he didn't go. What the hell was the point of coming home?
And that's here's the thing. Gunnar won't go anywhere. Gunnar can be 19th string. He's already said he wanted to play for his dad. He wants to be at Stillwater. He's a Cowboy to death. So if Gunnar never gets another snap, he's happy.
Wow.
But I agree with you, dude. He's a better backup than people give him credit for. It is what it is.
Be starting, but and I think So and what about the new kid? Is he looking pretty good? I guess.
Yes, Zane Flores. He is way ahead of where Gunnar Gundy and Garrett Rangel when they came in. Way ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem, he has this problem in disguise, I guess. When you show up 6'3", 210 pounds, right? You're already ready to go physiologically. The thing of it is we don't need to rush him because you like what you're seeing right now out of Garrett Rangel and Gunnar Gundy. And realistically, as I've said it before, Alan Bowman gives you something.
Same reason they don't want to play Jackson right now. I get that. Yeah.
He gives you something that the other quarterbacks don't quite have. But he also throws a lot of picks. So We'll see.
Well, and I don't know that. I mean, I think a lot of it is just catching up with the speed of the game at this level. You know,
again, yeah.
It's just the game is different, just like But if he's and you don't need to rush him into service at any point, unless
Correct.
if you've got a quarterback though. Right now, I would tell you that I don't think they have a quarterback because they're not playing them. If Bowman is the starter, and when we both feel like Rangel and Gunner are better, right?
Not better, but they might be better
Really?
suited for the offense.
Bro.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, man. Bowman makes some throws that that will blow your mind.
I've watched Alan Bowman. I don't think he's that good. I just don't think he's that good, and I don't care how well you can throw it. Look, if you're not gonna freaking complete passes, having the best arm, it doesn't mean shit. Michael Vick could throw the hell out of the football. He couldn't complete any passes.
I'm not disagreeing, man.
How do you win like that?
I do see what the coaches.
I don't see how you can do that.
I see what the coaches see. What the coaches see is if he does this, we're a contender. And it is a big if. It is a big if. But if he can drop some of the dimes without all of the picks, then yeah, we've got something cooking here.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I see it. I
feel like and I get that your schedule, if you look at run it down to me, because you keep saying that it's the easiest one except for maybe OU's. And I'm going to tell you, OU's is definitely, there's 3 losses that they had a year ago that's not there. Right.
Yeah.
So to me, Oklahoma got considerably better. They upgraded almost everything. Right. Particularly defensively. You got an offense, a defensive, freshman All-American and Deshaun McCullough coming in. We've talked a lot about that. Pearson coming in from Texas Tech, that guy's the big hitter, and they got obviously Peyton Bowen. I think Peyton Bowen's going to get an opportunity, and Billy Bowman's still back there as well.
I like Billy Bowman.
Led the conference in tackles. The linebacking core got better, even with their freshmen, and their cornerbacks look great too. I mean, Woody's coming back. That's a great thing for him coming back as well. You've got but that defensive line position, that defensive tackle position that we're talking about with the 3-3-5, that was
right.
We had such a hard time clogging that middle up, like we were talking about.
Yes, sir.
That was the biggest issue, right?
Right.
Now you got guys coming in like, well, even Devon Sears from Texas State. That guy's a monster, right? But you've got Rondell Bothroyd. I know he was a hybrid at.
Hold on. Do you have a bunch of OU fans that are like, oh, he's from Texas State, he can't be any good? Did you see some of that?
There's been a few, yeah. I mean,
but
it is what it
the
is.
people that watch,
but I can tell you what the coaches think about him.
No, I'm proving a point. You're right. You're 100% right. But you hear it all the time. He's from Nevada. He can't be any good. Just watch the film, ladies and gentlemen. You can tell when somebody's technique is far more advanced than everybody else's.
Look, I would tell you that, and I know that you like this new Brian Nardo, and I get it, but Brent Venables is one of the premier minds in the history of defensive football in college. Period. Mm-hmm. I trust him more than I trust any of these people. Anybody. I just don't. I don't, and then that includes all these folks that are freaking out about stuff like JJA going to Georgia when I've been telling you for a month that was going to happen. Folks, I've been telling you for a month that's going to happen. We've been talking about it. Who are they going to get? They're going to get David Stone. They're going to get Williams Winery, and they're probably going to get Nigel.
That David Stone dude is woofed.
Bro. And Williams Winery is ranked above him.
Isn't that crazy?
Unbelievable. And they're both coming. Nigel Smith is seriously underrated. If you're paid he went and worked with Aaron Donald. This came from JJ, the Pitt guy. He was out working with Aaron Donald, and they thought they had a chance at him for a while. Aaron Donald is saying, nope, he's going to Oklahoma. They're banding together to get at least 3 of these guys. At least 3. I've been telling you guys for a month that JJA was going to Georgia, period. I've never once said that he was coming to Oklahoma. It wasn't happening. And yet we still get people every freaking time I turn on the stream.
Oh, I know, bro. I know.
I love you guys, but you kill me. You know, I mean, you kill me. And so it's one of these times we have to give him some time. Listen, they may not be perfect this year, but if you listen to Reggie Pearson, he was on a number 2 defense ranked in the country at Wisconsin. He says this Oklahoma defense is better, more talented. Jay Smith had him on the show. He was salty when he told him top 10. Or he's like, so you're saying top 10? No, top 5, he says. I'll be happy with top 50 right now, with the offense being what it is, right? I mean, you just want to see improvement, because I think now you need to see that in order to hold some of these guys. Now, I think last year we said this. I think that as bad as they were on defense probably played into the success that they had in recruiting, because a lot of those guys knew they're going to come in and play right away. Samuel Musillo is going to get some playing time. Bet on it. The kid Lewis from Florida, Lewis, is it Carter? I think, yeah, stud, right? And then Makari Vickers, same thing, stud.
That kid's good.
Josiah Wagner, stud. These guys are going to play. Deshaun McCullough, you know, he started at Indiana, but I mean, he came to OU for a reason.
Hey, I'm interested. I'm interested to see in the chat. Maybe not this Matt guy, but somebody that has like an understanding on the recruiting side of things. How does OU fans feel about Devon Jordan? They still thinking that he's headed to Norman, or because I'm hearing that it was all OU,
safety, right? Devon Jordan.
Yeah, and number 1 safety in the state of Oklahoma. And I don't know what we've done.
OU and you guys is what I keep hearing.
And we've made a very late push. We've made a very late push, and yeah, I don't know what we're doing right. And that, oh yeah, Gentry Williams. Yeah, goodness gracious,
bad dude, man. Yes.
Yeah, I can say I know we're not in that sweepstakes, unfortunately.
Well, Gentry's already there. Gentry's already in Oklahoma.
Yeah, well,
he's already at Oklahoma,
and he's going to be a massive get.
Devon Jordan, we talked about, you and I were talking about him, and everything that I've heard seems like Oklahoma, but here's the thing. Oklahoma's gotten kind of deep there. So it wouldn't surprise me completely. It wouldn't surprise me completely if he ended up at OSU, because when you start looking at, Billy's still pretty young. Now Pearson's going to be gone, but you got Peyton Bowen. And then you've had some other guy. You've got another who was that kid that they got to come in from Arizona? I think he's a high 3-4-star guy, you know, playing at that same place where Rattler was from. This is a stud, another stud, right? And some of these guys, I mean, I feel like they pick up on these guys that they see them.
Right.
And we'll see what happens. I think Devon could end up, I do think he could end up at OSU, but I also think that I wouldn't be that surprised OU either, or TCU for that matter. The thing about TCU is I don't know that I believe that they're going to get good on defense. I think that they were good as they're going to be on defense with Gary Patterson's leftover guys. That's what I think.
You know what? You might not be wrong on that one. I think people do.
Here's what I know. Here's what I know. There's never been an air raid coach that's played enough defense to win a national championship. Never.
Correct.
It just doesn't happen. Now, what we're going to find out, because Clemson is one of the best defenses in the country, and this is something that I said the other night, they're a dark horse to me to win it again. If Garrett Riley goes in there and does what they need to do on offense, and they look like what they look like they've got the best linebacking core in the country, probably. They've got they're amazing at every level still on defense. If they're markedly better, even a little better, they're in the playoff and they could win the whole thing. And now that's all dependent on a new quarterback, of course.
Well, they love.
I know one thing. Garrett Riley. I mean, Max Duggan. What did he look like pre Garrett Riley?
True. He looked like a runner.
That was it. Like a half-ass quarterback at best. He almost won the freaking Heisman. You know?
Yeah.
Got beat by his brother's quarterback. That's it. Crazy, right?
It is interesting because, dude, everyone thought, was it DJ? How do you say it? Ugalunglele?
Yui Ungalele. Yeah.
Ungalele. All right. Look at me go.
DJU is good.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, they were pretty sold on him, and now they're sold on the new guy.
I still feel like that was. I don't think that was DJ's fault. I think that was a bad system for him in particular. He looked worse the year before that. He still had 20-something touchdowns to 7 picks last year.
He's a freak athlete. If he can find it,
I think he's in a good position going to Oregon State. I think that's a good spot for him because they are going to run the ball. They're going to do more of a pro style offense than what you're going to see, and I think that fits DJ.
I agree,
and I think that it's hard following Trevor Lawrence too.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
that's a tough deal. You mentioned our schedule and why I think it's the easiest.
Yes, please do. Go ahead.
So we're the only team that plays every team ranked below us as far as odds, right? So that's 6 games right there of teams that are automatically ranked below us. And then the 2 teams that are ranked ahead of us, we get them both at home. All right. So we got Central Arkansas. That is what it is. Then we got Arizona State, and that's going to be obviously a little bit more difficult than last year, but they still lost like 50 some odd dudes. And just like we talked about,
I think that Dillingham's going to be good. I don't know who they got at quarterback.
I don't think they're going to have anything figured out by week 2.
Maybe not.
No,
I don't know.
South Alabama. I think South Alabama will be a harder game than Arizona State, but it's a game that we should still definitely
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I get it.
And then we go to Ames, Iowa in September. Thank the heavens. We always end up there in November. Thank goodness we have them super early. Then we have K-State at home. I don't think we win that. Then we have KU at home the following week. We've got some get right to get back there. And I can already tell you the objective for the KU game is to kind of keep the ball out of Jaylan Daniels' hands. That will be, and if we can pull that off.
Snap.
I know that, but if we can limit him to only getting 50 snaps,
I get it.
You feel me?
West Virginia sideline. In other words, I get it.
I love Garrett Green, but our defense, athletically, speed wise, should be able to reel him in. I love Garrett Green at West Virginia.
Yeah,
but
you should be. I would hope.
But I think that our offense, speed wise, is going to be able to relegate what he does very, very well. Cincinnati, homecoming. There's a reason that we made this game homecoming. They're going to be reeling. They're going to need a couple years to get rocking and rolling. And then obviously we have Bedlam. As much as I would love to hoot and holler, I do think that it being the last Bedlam in Stillwater will have something to say. But until we do it, you got to consider it a loss. I'm okay. UCF, they're not gonna beat us. We're gonna go to the Bouse House and we're gonna bounce up and down.
That's the one time I'm gonna root for you. I'm sick of UCF fans. I'm sick of them.
And you know what's funny? I wasn't going, right? So I will be.
Oh, I'll go with you. I don't know if I should go with you.
I'll be at the KU game. Okay. I'll be at homecoming. I'll be at Bedlam. I'll be in Houston for the Houston game, and I'll be in Stillwater for BYU. I was not planning on going to the Bounce House because I was going to be pretty daggone busy. With as much crap as they're talking, I'm going, dude. Not only am I going, they do have some fans that are sensible. I do have several DMs of people from UCF.
I haven't found one.
Dude, I've got invited to a few tailgates by some sensible people. So I'll be going.
Waiting to cut your throat, bro.
But you know what? I tell this like I tell my kids. There will be a day that you think you're big enough, bad enough, and ready enough. And when that day comes, you'll feel what it feels like to think you're ready.
Better take some folks with you. That's all I know.
Shoot, look, boom, I'm taking these boys. I'm taking these guns, buddy. I'm going packing.
I love it. Yeah, I get it, man.
I'll just beat somebody with my prosthetic and put it.
I was going to say you're gonna have to pull off that prosthetic and
there you go. I've been waiting for a reason.
But what's that thing about one-legged guy in an ass-kicking contest or something? I mean, this really applies at this point, you know?
Well, and dude, I swear,
don't go there. Don't go.
It's funny. Cats, man. I tried to pick a little bar fight when I was in Stillwater. I know, me. Good.
Did
call,
you?
Right? I sure did.
Oh,
Here's the thing, man. I forget that I only have one leg a lot, and once I'm in it, I'm in it, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to go for whatever.
Oh, guys, if you don't like this shit, then what are we doing here? Please hit the like button. Please share us with your friends. This is hilarious, fun stuff. Okay. We've been going over 2 hours now.
Yeah, bro.
Hey, look, so here's the deal. We're about to start going 5 days a week. I'm really close at this point to getting this studio finished and completed. I want to start doing this this Friday call-in show, but I want you guys to call in. Somebody's got to call, right?
Yeah.
We need callers.
Well, and I know I got my people, some of my
of
people in the comment section too. Yeah, guys, have fun, right? There's a reason. There's a reason.
No, yeah, I'm all the way good with that. You guys know that
me and Jason,
we
give each other a hard time. We give each other a hard time. We have a lot of fun, but this is the only OU show.
Yeah.
This is the only OU show I go on. It's the only OU show that I mess with, and I like to have fun. The guys in the comment section are usually a hoot and a half as well. So I enjoy being over here because you are very good at your job. And yeah, you make it fun. You make it fun, buddy. And that's what podcasting is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun.
And here's the beauty of it, guys. We're gonna be doing this 5 days a week. So we have to talk to these other fan bases. And like really, we're trying to establish ourselves as this is a big time show for me. This is what I want to do, and this is how we're gonna do it. And we are going to cover Texas Tech, but I believe that they are a problem in this league coming up. This is something we didn't really talk a lot about today.
Sir.
I think that they were underrepresented on this list as well. I think that I get that. I get where they're at. I could see them. I think top 4, if they'd have been below that, it'd have pissed me off because I think all they really needed last year was to stay healthy at quarterback. That's really what they needed to do.
Who? OU?
Texas Tech.
Oh, okay.
You needed more than that.
Dude, you're not wrong. Texas Tech is going to be a problem. Like we've talked about it. I've talked about it on my show and other shows. If
They're
you look at
quarterback talent, where most people are only getting 1 per year.
Who has more wins than everyone not named OU? Oklahoma State, right? So we should be the de facto next in line to run the conference, but Texas Tech's going to be a problem. Texas Tech's going to be.
I want everybody calling in. We're going to start getting some of these fan bases and I don't mind the banter back and forth if we keep it respectable. And we love the fighting. I'm good with all that, but don't go to the point that past the point. You guys all know this. I don't have to tell you that. But I do want to do this every week. So Fridays are going to start being our call-in days. We're going to go a little early. We're going to, we'll go a couple of hours if you guys will call in and we can talk about what you want.
Yeah.
But guys got to make sure that you're hitting that like button, sharing this. We're almost to that 2,000 mark, which I'm so excited about. This is a big deal for me, man. We're at 1985. We got 15 to go.
Well, so, and dude, you won't put it out there, so I'll put it out there. Jason would have already been at 2,000 if he didn't have to kind of readjust some of his life and living arrangements. I'll say it because I know you won't.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
That's
a fact.
True. It's true. But it's also the living arrangement part is, I wouldn't be doing this if getting this studio and getting the opportunity to cover some more stuff. We're going to go heavy on with Coach and everything being right here. We're going to do stuff with Coach. And then we're also going to be doing some tech stuff. There's a lot of fans in this area that I'm at that'll help us move this show forward by doing some tech stuff during the week. That's why I want to make sure that we're going 5 days a week because I want to get a weekly update from Cody. I want to make sure that I get a weekly update from Fitz over at KSU. Go Power Cat. What a great show. If you guys don't watch that show, you're crazy. It's amazing. I love JJ and the guys from the ACC and Coach I from the High Top guys. They're my boys. I want to have all these guys on, So I'm going to bring you guys, the best content we can have. If we didn't bring on Cody, it's no fun at all. He knows this stuff. He is an Okie Light homer. I get it, but we love him. And he talks trash right back at us, and I like that part. That's just this. We're gonna have fun with this all the time.
We've talked about it before. My thing, obviously, I love O State, right? I'm a diehard. I bleed orange, that type of thing. But I love the Big 12 as much as I do O State. As hard as some people may think that is to conceptualize,
We're not going to talk about what's going to happen, but you'll see about that at some point with this, because as this thing grows, Cody's a big part of what it's going to grow with. What's, I believe that. I believe that he is. I believe there are a lot of these guys that I do work with. I'd love to have them all on the team. This is why we work together. All of us. It's good times. We have a great time. And the Lone Star guys are great too. I enjoy the Lone Star guys, man. They're fun. They're young, but they know their shit.
Bro, and you know what I like about this part of it, like, we always talk about, it would be crazy for people to hear our everyday phone conversations. Well, why not make it that way? Because it is fun. We don't agree oftentimes about OU and OSU, but
watch us on Twitter. We hardly ever get along. Ever.
But dude, young cats don't get that, dude. Young cats get sensitive and they get irritated. You know what I mean? Like, I like chopping it up with somebody that can take it, that can also dish
I'm
it
so
out.
glad that Wet came in today. I mean, I was surprised that you didn't have more of your boys in here, but I was glad that Wet was in here.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, usually there's more people. So that's on me. I didn't put it out there enough.
It's all good, but let everybody know. Let everybody know. We're gonna start doing this every Friday. We're gonna do this in the morning time so that I'm gonna make sure that I can get you guys on. The show's gonna keep getting better, guys.
Bro, don't lie. Don't lie. Tell the truth. You're gonna do it in the morning just so Hank can call in and not be too sloshed. Come on now.
Hey,
we don't. Hey, you're doing it in the morning.
Hank is my dude, man. Hank
for you.
Is my guy. Him and Kim are always every freaking time in here. Every time. They don't miss. Those are my boys.
And they're fun.
Mars has become that way too. I
ain't gonna lie. Mars seems to know his stuff. I mean, I'm gonna give him shit, but he seems to know his stuff.
Mars is my dude, man. These are my boys. I love Mars to death. I think I miss when Chicken doesn't come in because he can get wild on it. I love it when he comes in. But yeah, let's see. We got Eric McCarty.
What are you talking about? I'm young. I feel young. My body says otherwise.
He's fairly young, but he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot.
So my doctor tells me all the time, I think like I'm 20, but my body moves like it's 65.
Well, it is what it is. Eric McCarty at safety, that's going to be a good one. I'm telling you this. When it comes to this Oklahoma football team, we can end with this. I think that I was saying this on Kuz's show yesterday.
Dude, Hank is the best, bro.
Yeah, dude, he did. I was going to say, whatever do you mean, Cody? I was going to let him tell you, but I didn't want to say it for him. Here's what I'm going to tell you about OU. If you're not buying stock on them right now, because I think that I heard Josh Neighbors on Kuz yesterday saying, I don't believe in Oklahoma this year. Could have understood you doing that last year, right? Not this year. If you're not buying stock in what OU's doing, when they've recruited the way they have, and you're looking at what's about to come, when you get David Stone and Woons Waneri, and they already got Peyton Bowen and all those, they had 6 guys in the top 100 in this last class. Most of those dudes were on defense.
Yeah. Well, dude, like I said, I'll admit, I might not be like fully bought in, but I will say this. I know you guys are going to be way better than you were last year. And last year, there was a few games that, you know what I mean? You were real close. Yeah.
Out of the 7 losses, 5 of them were by 7 or less, 4 of them being by 3. And they had one of the worst defenses in Oklahoma history.
And
because it was that hard. It was that hard to pick it up. And it's always like that in that first year. This is why I was warning you about that first year in that 3-3-5. It's complex, man. It's just complex.
Yep.
It's worked that when he went to Clemson, it took 2 years before the second year, they were a little better. The third year, they were killing it. But the portal was different then too, right? It wasn't the same. You couldn't just transfer.
Well, like I said, dude, your show is awesome. And just so your people know, this is how we got hooked up.
As well. Yep.
I was, as content creators to some degree, we're constantly watching other brands, right? And I just happened to be getting lost in YouTube, and your video came up, and it was one of your videos about how Oklahoma State's going to suck because they lost their whole roster and Mike Gundy's an idiot and da-da-da. And so on my show, I was like, you got some OU people out here that aren't paying attention, that aren't doing research. And, I wish some of them would be able to do this via video because it makes it make more sense. You are the only person, you're the only show or dude I've ever called out that has ever messaged me and said, I'm about it. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, sweet. And since then,
and I was talking trash to you on your stuff too, and I didn't expect to get anything back from you.
And I would think less of you if you didn't.
It was fun. We're having fun.
It is, dude.
And
I love
what
it.
it is. I mean, come on, man. The thing is that the only thing to do. I mean, when High Top was in here earlier, you guys know that this is what he does. He talks shit. He does. This is why I like him. His show is amazing. If you guys ain't watching High Top Sports every week, you're missing out because it's a great show. It's a great show.
Mars says, I'd rather have Urban Meyer than Mike Gundy. If you're building a long-term program, I disagree. If you need a coach for a year to win.
Doing it right now, sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I think that I'm of the mind that you're not going to be able to get them forever. But I don't know how you don't go and get Robert Traylor. I just don't know how you haven't done that.
Well, if your buddy
Jeff Traylor, sorry.
If your buddy is right and we go 5-7, we should be shopping.
I don't believe that though. I just don't know that I trust that. That's where I'm at on that part. But again, I feel like, and I'm going to tell you another thing. All these USC fans that are out there talking all this yang, keep talking, guys, because you're not going to do it. Believe me, Oklahoma, even going
I don't know, man. They're in the Pac-12,
brother.
They've got 6 guaranteed wins,
bro. I'm going to tell you right now, they are not going to beat Penix in Washington or Oregon, and they've yet to beat Utah. They've yet to beat Utah. It's just I don't see it. I just don't see it. To me, when you beat Utah, then we can talk about it. But when it gets into a close game, and instead of getting better on defense, I mean they got a couple of guys, and that's great. But again, the scheme is not going to change. What are they going to make Bear lose all this weight so that he can run speed D? What's the point of this?
I mean, they're going to be improved on defense, but
until they actually go out and like show that it's a real priority, which it's not. Here's the thing. And this is again, we're going to say this about the air raid, and I love Mike Leach to death. I covered him whenever I was covering Tech a long time ago.
Yeah, right.
I love the offense. I love offense. And I like Lincoln's offense. I like Lincoln's offense a lot. In fact, I like it better than Mike's because it's got the wrinkle of they run the shit out of the ball too, right? Yeah. So I respect that. The problem is with these guys, and I'm not sure that Heupel's not the same way.
Yeah.
You got to play defense, guys. You got to play defense. And until you do, this is why we've never seen an air raid team win the national championship.
Didn't Gray leave Tennessee because he wasn't getting enough carries? Or am I wrong?
That wasn't because of Heupel. That was the last coach.
No, I know it wasn't going to Heupel, but he wasn't. He didn't like his utilization, correct?
Yeah. And I mean,
I love defense.
But honestly, he was better. He was better with Levy than he was with Lincoln.
So and Mars, admit it. You liked watching the Cowboys in 2021 if you like defense, because we didn't have an offense.
We're gonna find out.
Our offense was Jaylan Warren.
Yeah, listen, I feel like we're going to get into more of this. We'll be back on Tuesday for sure, and I want to start talking. We're going to start doing some deep dives into some of these teams across the country. I want to talk about some of the. I don't understand how anybody believes in Ohio State right now, unless they're better on defense, because they lost probably the best quarterback in the country. If it wasn't him, it was Bryce Young, right? And supposedly anybody that's picking OSU. You're doing it based on what? On offense? Now, Jim Knowles is there, but they still haven't gotten it together yet. I don't know what's going on there. Because it's not like you have a hard time recruiting it.
Correct.
Something. Yeah,
I think Jim Knowles.
But having a new quarterback, if I'm going to trust in anybody, it's going to be the team that already has a great defense, and that's Georgia LSU's pretty good on defense too. And then Alabama, even though I don't trust their quarterback situation, I know they're probably going to be good on defense.
Hey, Alabama, offensively, we might see them slide back a decent amount.
I think so too.
But you're right on defense.
I mean, that's what they do. Look, they had 9 5-star guys in this last recruiting cycle. 9. It's insane.
It is.
It's insane. But
all right, buddy, I have to go do my favorite thing ever, which is grocery shopping.
Yay!
My daughter
every day,
right?
Oh,
dude, my 15-year-old daughter has had a list for 5 hours. She's been ready to go since this morning.
Oh yeah.
Well, you were my get out of jail free card. I was like, babe, I can't. I'm committed. I got to do this show.
You got to do it, man.
She's already sent me like 3 texts that we don't have milk. I was like, dag nabbit. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Fine. Well, I gotta go. I gotta go be a dad.
Cody, tell everybody how to find you again before you go.
Guys, I'm simple. I'm not very technologically advanced. I do have Twitter. It's @alldayoState, and then I do a daily show for Locked On Sports Network, Locked On Oklahoma State, and yeah, we've got some stuff in the background, but we're not exactly ready to launch yet. So until then, stay tuned. If you want to go watch my beautiful, majestic beard talk O-State, feel free to do so.
You keep working that into your show lately. The beautiful
100%, man.
Beard, man.
It's my pride and joy. It's my beard and my baby blues. That's it.
It's pretty awesome, brother. Yeah, you should go listen to his music too that he did way back in the day. I was super surprised when I heard that record. Yeah, man, pretty awesome.
As they say, what is it? A jack of all trades, master of none.
Overachieving ass clown. He gets on my nerves. Okay.
Ooh, did I tell you my boy had 10 Ks yesterday?
Brother. And he's got an overachieving son, which I don't. That doesn't bother me. I really like.
Yeah, well, guys, my overachieving son wants to go to Texas Tech, so there's that.
My man.
He does, man. He wants to play baseball in Lubbock.
Hey, man. We'll take care of him out there.
I can't fault it. I cannot
no
fault it.
Problem at all.
He told me his top 3 is Texas Tech, O-State, and TCU, and I was like, dang it, I can't say a word, man.
Very good. They're all very good.
Yes, sir. What is Justin Blackman doing? I'm probably getting high right now. I don't know.
Easy.
Easy. He probably He's smoking a bleezy watching this show. What are you talking about?
I hope he's watching the show. Come on. Hey, we would be happy to have you on, Mr. Justin Blackman, if you'd like to come on.
And you can smoke all you want.
You can do it.
Did you freeze up? All I see is your face. Oh, there you are. It might be. It's probably my end, buddy. All right,
guys. Thanks a lot for coming in, Cody. We will see you on the next time around. Make sure you guys go check him out all day. State on Twitter. And the Locked On Oklahoma State podcast, Cody Stovall. Thanks, bud.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep. We'll see you later.
Later.
Great stuff from you guys. Gave him a lot of shit. I appreciate that. I love it, man. I love it. I enjoy it. He's definitely one of my favorite creators on here. But I love having our guys from OU as well on too. Jay and even Ty. He's more of a. He's kind of de facto Oklahoma, even though he's always loving on Texas and in Alabama. He's a Bama guy. But I love having these guys on. I really like having Professor Cody, and I'd like to get High Top back on here pretty soon as well, man. We're excited. We're excited. What questions you got? What are we talking about? What? Oh, Blackman. Okay. Hey, guys, I'm just going to say this real quick. Everybody sit back and relax about this recruiting stuff, okay? Relax. I'm not in for the record. I bring Jay and those guys on because they're going to study that a lot harder. I hear things and I pass it on to you when I do. But I bring those guys on because they do stay so tight with it, right? And I love that part. And I'm definitely I want to know. The thing is, we're so far away from freaking signing day that it really don't matter. It does matter where they commit, but I'm telling you now, the guys that you really want at Oklahoma are still in play for Oklahoma. If I cannot imagine a situation at this point that David Stone does not end up at OU. I think that he will miss out on something if he doesn't. He loves the school. He loves it. And even if he were to not do it, you got McKinley that could show up. I'm telling you, I don't think he goes to LSU. I don't think he does. I'm serious about that. Winery, Nigel Smith. I think if they lose Nigel Smith, it's crazy talk. I don't think it's going to happen. So if you get 3 of those guys or more, even 2, we're talking about foundation for national championship defense right there. They're going to do it. Sooner Cowboys doesn't know. He doesn't know. I'm telling you what, I mean, even you guys love Parker Thune. What did he tell you about what happened with Winery at Georgia? You guys all trust Parker to the end. I don't know that I even do so sometimes. I think him and Brandon are kind of good. I know one thing. Will Fong doesn't miss very often, right? He's had that 100% crystal ball on Winery to OU for about, 3-4 months now? When he went to Georgia and left, it hadn't changed. Never. It hadn't changed, right? I just feel like this is one of those things that, yeah, and you should. But, guys, what you got to make sure is you're listening to the right people. And I'm not saying that Parker and Brandon aren't those guys. I'm not saying that, okay? What I'm telling you is you need to listen to all of it, not one guy, all of them, right? It's the consensus of it. If you're going to listen to one, it needs to be Will Fong. Those are the guys that get it. But in the end, shit, man, we still got a long ways, and things change with kids. They change their mind like they change their draws. They just do. You guys have, any of you that have kids, you know. You know. They didn't forget how to freaking recruit, Sooner Cowboys. They didn't. They didn't forget how to coach defense either. They are better 1,000 times than they were this time last year. They're stronger, they're faster, they're smarter. They've had a year in the system, the guys that were around already. The other guys, maybe they already had they went and got guys that got it. What did Pearson say on Jay's show? He was in the Rex Ryan defense at that one point, and he said it was super complex, but that this one was too, but that they all seemed to get it. He understood it. The other guys were understanding it. And listen, BV said he expects them to handle it. That he believes that they're 1,000 times better than they were this time last year. Just give it time. They're not going to be, listen, if Pearson's right in their top 5, then they might win the national championship for that matter, right? That's crazy talk. I don't know that that's the case. I don't know that that's the case, right? What I will tell you is they're going to be better than they were a year ago. That's it. They're going to get these guys. They didn't forget how to do it. And listen, and the guys that know, Oklahoma wasn't in these rooms. They weren't talking to Winery, Stone. They might have gotten Stone just because he's an OU guy, but I doubt it, right? I doubt it. Yeah, Jimmy, you don't always agree with me. That's awesome. I like it. Listen, guys, I'm just saying this is going to work itself out, but we got to give it time. And I think that they got to come up and show out. I think that that's going to be a big part of it. I think it is. We're going to see what happens. But, hey, if you guys ain't excited, I'm excited, man. Let's not worry so much. It's Oklahoma. They're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. You know, if they get top 50, yeah, if they get top 50, they win 10 at least, right? At least if they're anywhere close to what they were offensively a year ago. I think they're going to be better offensively. I don't think you see as many drops. I think that you're going to see better play from Dylan because they have an option behind him that they don't have to be so careful with him, right? They let him go and hang out, let it all hang out and play. Let him play what he's best at doing. I said it on Mark's show the other day. I really, really think, dude, yeah, man, great. We haven't talked about him enough. I'm glad you brought him up, Hank. Halton, dude, Did you see that picture of him that was on freaking Twitter? Oh, he's put on 30 pounds of muscle. 30 pounds of muscle. He's going to be a stud. Devon Sears looks great. Bothroyd is an animal anyway. And then listen, and we talked a lot about, and I think I've given him a lot of hard times, but Ethan Downs, good for Ethan. He played very good. He's been good at times. I want to see him get home a little more. But congratulations to him. He just got married. He looks like he's going to head out. And, Coach Chavis said it's just the start for him. Let's see what happens, Halton did look good, man. He looks good. And he looked good in the spring. I think that this is a big turnaround season for him. If they're in the top 50 on yards per play even, they're in great shape, right? Great shape. It's going to be tough to stop a lot of these off. I mean, think about these quarterbacks. As good as the Pac-12 quarterbacks are, I would tell you that right under that, probably the Big 12. There's some good guys. You look at both of the Kansas quarterbacks are good. You've got two good ones at freaking Texas. You've got two good ones at OU. Okie Light, not so much. Because they're not playing the right ones, I don't think. We're going to find out. But again, and then look at Texas Tech, man. If Tyler Shook gets hurt, they may have a better one coming behind him. I really think they might. And they're doing some things in Lubbock, man. They're doing some things in Lubbock right now. This is a good conference right now. I still believe. We got a former OU quarterback that's there at TCU. I think that he's probably better than Duggan. I don't know what they have around him so much, but they did well in the transfer portal too. So we're going to find out if TCU can back that up. I don't know that they do. Yeah. I think that DG looks good, man. I think that he, even in some way, I go back to that spring game, and I know everybody was kind of worried, but he turned it around and kind of grinded out some scores there. But if he'd have gone out there and lit up the scoreboard, then we're worried about that defense a lot more than we are right now, right? You can't have both, in a spring game when you're going against each other. Can't have both. But they did grind out and get some stuff done when they needed to. Right. I'm going to tell you that running back room, people are kind of laughing when I say I think it's the best running back room in the country. I think it is. I know it's top 3. And it's just getting better. These guys look like they're ready to go. These young kids look like they're ready to go right now. Right. And Tawi, that kid looked great all spring as well. And hey, listen, we've said this a bunch of times before. How many times? Look, if help me out, Hank. What's the kid that's always hurt? Oh man, I just lost his name for whatever reason. I do that sometimes. We've had some guys that have been hurt and stuff like that, but you start looking at, all those kids are looking great right now. They're looking great. And Sawchuk, man, that guy's it's a touchdown waiting to happen no matter where they are on the field when he gets the ball. That dude's fast. And I still like Javonte looked really good as a freshman last year. He's got some speed to him, but the dude is one of those guys. He could be that bell cow kind of guy. And look at what you got coming behind them. Crystal ball in yesterday for Tatum. Crystal ball in yesterday for Tatum. They know what the hell they're doing. They're getting it. Hey, that's the other. Hey, bro. DeMarco Murray is hitting on recruits the way he used to hit the hole at OU. Killing it. Loving it. Loving it. Marcus Majors, thank you. Yes, if he stays healthy, the guy is great too. He's still here, so you got to hope for it. And I think he deserves to. They won't keep him off the field if he looks good and he's healthy. They won't. They won't. They love him. And I like him too. I'd love to see him have an opportunity, man. The beauty of it is that if you got depth like that, it's good times. Good times are going to be happening. And that takes a lot of pressure off the quarterbacks too, man. It does. I think this is going to be a fun year. I'm excited. Cannot wait, right? Cannot wait. We're getting ready. I'm going to be at actually, we didn't even talk about that, but Cody and I are going to be at the Big 12 Media Days this next week. Excited about that. So we may not do this call-in show on Friday because of that, but we're going to do it from here on after that, aside from it. The call-ins might be hard to do from the road, but we'll definitely be on. We'll definitely be doing content from the road, live shows, stuff like that. Excited to do it. Can't wait to go. We've been going for a long time, man. I'm going to get out of here. We will see you guys on Tuesday. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Share this with everybody else, and we're going to cut some of this up. I'll make sure we get it out in segments so it's easier to watch. But thanks a lot for coming in, guys. We'll see you on the next one, okay?